Howdy, boys and girls. How's everybody doing today? We'll give people a few minutes to get here. If people even come. We're streaming a bit earlier in the day than we usually do, obviously. I'm not sure how people are going to respond to that. I don't know. I guess sometimes I stream, especially when Joey and I are streaming. We haven't done that in a while, but when we did stream, we would do it kind of midday-ish. So I don't know. We'll see who shows up. Maybe different people will show up than normal. Who can say? Give people a few minutes to show up before I actually start building anything. Also because I'm technically working on some sketches of stuff that I'm going to build so we can possibly be a little bit more efficient than we were last time. Because last time, we took 4 hours to build 2 ships. This is not very productive. We care about productivity very deeply here on the Research Runs YouTube channel. I haven't done much. I was planning on doing stuff before, like a lot of stuff before the next stream. Or not a lot, but sketching a couple of things. Right now I've only got one actual sketch done, and it's pretty simple. I'm going to see if I can't get a couple more things worked out. But regardless, throughout the stream, if I don't get more sketches worked out now, before we start building each thing, I'll probably at least jot something down so we've got a little bit of idea. Even if we do wind up kind of feeling it out as we go on with the actual construction process, give it our best shot. Dane Parnell asks, anyone played anything fun recently? I've been playing Titanfall 2 multiplayer a little bit. I don't play a ton of stuff just for funsies, so I'm usually pretty busy lately. But Titanfall 2 multiplayer, and recently reinstalled Final Fantasy 12: The Zodiac Age, which I haven't had installed on my PS4 in like a year and a half, 2 years maybe. I don't know. I guess it's probably been installed since then, but the last save file was a while ago. Working towards actually beating that completely. Because I continued on from the save file that Joey and I used for the ramble, just for fun, a while ago. But I got to around the point where I almost always quit in that game, which is immediately after Arcades and after you go to Bafiden, wherever Redis hangs out. I tend to get burnt out around there. That's also where the story enters into a more obvious than other parts of the game. Okay, now it's time for this dungeon to get this thing. Oops, now, that wasn't quite what we expected it to be, and we got to go over to this dungeon to get this thing now, and there's a bit of a rigmarole as that game gets close to concluding. You can tell that there are aspects of it that they didn't quite have time to flesh out the way they wanted to. And I've been doing, like, the hunts and stuff, but to be clear, when I say I've been doing that, I only reinstalled it, like, yesterday, while I was, getting footage for some stuff that I needed for a video. To be clear when I say that, not a Final Fantasy 12 video. I was recording other things on my desktop computer over here. You see? A desktop computer. And while I was getting things on that desktop computer, I couldn't really use that desktop computer for much else. I couldn't be editing or, whatever else. So I decided to play some Final Fantasy 12. Sometimes I'll play, like I said, usually my time waster things are multiplayer shooters and stuff like that. And lately that's been Titanfall 2. I say multiplayer because I don't play a ton of them. Like, I haven't bought a new one in quite some time. Recently it's been Titanfall 2 multiplayer, but the problem with that is that if I have to start another recording or end one that I was currently doing in the middle of a match, it's a bit difficult to do. I can't always be paying as much attention as I should if I'm doing a multiplayer thing. Final Fantasy 12 is a very, you can borderline set it and leave it at times, so. Still haven't gotten those blinds, says Ruby Knight. Nope. I like this space without the blinds, to be honest. It's very open, it's airy, it's sunny. I like it a lot. The only problems that we really need blinds in this space are, number one, it would help with noise dampening a little bit, because right now the sound echoes in here quite a bit, which isn't great for videos. We do some things to help with it, but probably not enough. And the other reason is because the window that is in that direction, basically right now, just to give you a slight idea of the space, I'm currently sitting at a desk. Directly in front of this desk is a sofa, then a table, then a TV. When we're recording as a group, we're usually on that sofa, unless we're streaming, then we're back here at this desk. In previous houses, we'd always filmed at this desk that we're currently sitting at now. In this house, our setup is it's in such a way that basically I have HDMI cables and other things running from this desk where everything is recorded to the TV that's over there. So that when we're doing Let's Plays, we actually set up the mic over on that table instead between the TV and the sofa, and we record on the sofa, which is significantly more comfortable than sitting in chairs at a desk for hours and hours on end. We could not have done 10-hour-long recording sessions for Kingdom Hearts 3 like we did if we had been situated at this desk the entire time. We would have gotten worn out. I sit in a wooden office chair, which I like, but not great for 10-hour recording sessions. But the main issue is that the window over there, the sun comes through it, you know, when it's setting in the afternoon and evening. So Joey and I are filming in the afternoon and evening. It is coming through that window, very hot and very bright, and that becomes problematic because if you're sitting on the right side of the sofa, which is where Joey's usually sitting, it's a problem on the left side of the sofa too, where I'm usually sitting. But on the right side of the sofa, not only is it right in your eyes, but there's glare kind of right in the middle of the TV. So when you hear Joey talking about glare in the LP, that's what he's talking about. What we would often do is I have a green screen over here. Sometimes we'll move the green screen and put it up against that window, which also helps with sound dampening, actually, because we got a big fabric thing in the area where the sound is bouncing around. Billy the Kid Lawrence tempted to donate more money to get you the blinds in that stupid room. It's not a money issue. This isn't my house, technically speaking. Billy Lugo says FF12 is a big game. I don't know when I'll finish it. Yeah, that's part of the hesitance to shoot an LP for it. A normal LP of that game is very long. Jacob LP of that game is intense and a lot. Yosh Kapoor, if I said that right, I'm not remembering. Yalsh? I'm sorry, I know we went through this whole rigmarole last time. Says, should I get FF12? Been thinking about it, but I was going to get the FF7 remake. If you're only getting one or the other, I mean, they're completely different things, and 7 is new and not out yet. If you're like talking budget-wise, either monetary or your time investment, which one you should do, I'm willing to bet that 7 will be significantly shorter than, the 7 remake is going to be probably a 20 to 30 hour experience would be my guess, and 12 is like a 70-hour experience if you don't do bonus stuff. But I mean, I don't know. I would say if it's between those two and you have to make a choice, I'd say wait until 7 is out and we actually have like reviews on it and stuff. Andrew asks, so Joshua is on the desk during the Let's Plays. Occasionally. What we've done, so the reason I needed Joshua on the desk is because when I was up there at that sofa, I could not see the computer to make sure that our capture hadn't crashed or that our audio was rolling, you know, that kind of stuff. But Joshua isn't always here. Even back then he wasn't, and now especially he's not here because he doesn't live here anymore because he's at college. So our alternative solution, basically it's just setup time. So whenever Joshua could help, he would help. But often during those recording sessions, he had to leave and go to bed or whatever, because he had stuff to do in the next morning, or he was just tired and didn't want to stay up and watch us play Kingdom Hearts 3. So we would then rearrange the setup. And basically what I do is then, when I'm sitting at this desk, I have a desktop computer here, and I have a small TV over here. Small TV has the game on it. Desktop computer has video capture and audio capture, that type of thing, right? That's what I'm doing right now with you guys, and also I have chat from YouTube over here, and the game is on the TV over here. When we're filming on the sofa, what I do is I take an HDMI signal out of my computer And then I take this TV, which normally is receiving an HDMI signal from a game console, and I take this small TV and I take it over and put it next to the sofa. And I pipe the signal from my computer to this TV, because I can't move this computer, because if I move the computer, I'd have to move hard drives, capture equipment. It would be way too many things. So instead, I just send the video signal of what's actually on my desktop computer to this TV monitor. I take it over there and it's a small TV. It's like I guess the screen's not even wide enough for you to see me hold my hands out, but whatever. I put this TV over kind of to the left of the sofa on a little armoire or whatever I happen to have handy. And I pipe the signal from my desktop computer to that TV, and then I just take my mouse and my keyboard, and I just use them over on the sofa. That's why I need to be on the left side of the sofa, is because the keyboard sits on the little armrest of the sofa to my left, where it's within range of the computer, and then my mouse is on the table in front of me. I do technically have a wireless keyboard that I could use, but no need to burn through batteries if I don't have to. And Bro asks, was this gummy ship supposed to look like the robot from Mystery Science Theater? Not quite. Good joke, though. It's kind of a B-Wing from Star Wars type design. I wasn't trying to recreate that, partially because that's using pretty much the full space that is allowed within the Gummi editor. If we pop this thing open, there's no room left. This is as big as it can be. So making an actual B-Wing is essentially impossible unless you kind of did like a mini kit Lego version of it. That was just kind of it was abstracted. It was the idea of a B-Wing. But the idea was to make something that kind of felt similar to that. Yash Kapoor, 10-hour recording sessions, Jesus. 10 hours of KH3 before 1.09, oh god, the horror. As a point of reference, when I say 10-hour recording sessions, that isn't literally we recorded for 10 hours nonstop. We stopped in 8 and stuff like that. On the day of that 10-hour recording session, and this is going to become relevant in the KH3 playthrough soon. We stopped at one point when we stopped for dinner, and we actually watched like an hour and a half long video. I'll tell you why not, because it's gonna come up. A guy named Noah Gervais, who has a YouTube channel. He does long form criticism and reviews of video games. One of my favorite YouTubers. I could plop his link to his channel in chat. Why not? You guys could open it in a new tab and check it out later. See if he has anything for you. I love his stuff. He's done videos on mostly PC stuff, because he was a PC guy until relatively recently. He got a PS4 just a little while ago, which means that he just did a video on Death Stranding, and he did a video on the Red Dead series a little while ago. One second. I'll leave a link in chat for you guys. But yeah, no, so he's done a number of videos that I really like, but the one that we watched on this particular occasion, he did a lengthy review of the single-player campaigns of almost every Call of Duty game, the mainline ones at least. He did another one a couple of years ago where he followed up with Black Ops 3, Infinite Warfare, and World War II. And before that, he did one that was number 1, number 2, 4, 5, Modern Warfare 2, Black Ops 1, Modern Warfare 3, Black Ops 2, Ghosts, and Advanced Warfare. The Call of Duty series, despite what many people think, is actually pretty interesting, and its fall from grace is almost as interesting as the actually interesting games in the series. The series in this video covers in some detail the better games in the series, and then kind of how things got a little bit silly and a little bit gross. And we had a realization, I'm going to talk about this during the LP, we had a realization when he was talking about, I'd watched these videos before Joey hadn't, I was sharing them with him. When we watched him talking about Black Ops 3, there was a moment where we realized that if you changed around all of the proper nouns, he could have been talking about Kingdom Hearts. And it was pretty funny. More explanation of why this is relevant will come up later. But so the point is, when I say 10-hour recording session, that means like Joey got here at 8 o'clock in the morning and didn't leave until midnight. And probably, it was probably more like 1 o'clock that day. I don't know when we quit that day. I'd have to check the times on the files. But, you know, it was a longer It was a long recording session, but we weren't literally recording for 10 hours straight. We have to stop for the sake of our voices and to eat and for our sanity and stuff like that. Drew, Tom Isaac said, dude, this song is effing dope. I don't know which one you're referring to. What's happened so far? Troubled from FF3 is going off right now. Before that was Butterfly Kiss. No, not FF3, from Persona 3. And before that was Butterfly Kiss from Persona 5. Either of them is good, though. Either of those tracks is good. Jacob, have you watched Breaking Bad and or Better Call Saul? I've watched Breaking Bad. I have not watched Better Call Saul. Complete mystery at research runs. Also, you should have a camera set up when you do the couch because we want to see some of your really reactions in your playthroughs. We're not, I don't know. We just don't really like that kind of thing, man. I know people want it. But honestly, most of the time during the streams, I turn the camera off. I only do it during these, I only have the camera on during this stream and streams like it because we're just sitting here talking, so it feels appropriate. For the most part, when we're playing a video game, I want the focus to be on the game, though. That's me personally. Schluke Time says 13 cods of dark, 7 cods of light. I don't think they even got to 7, but good joke all the same. Drew asks, that's some dedication from a friend for such a long day. To be clear on the subject of why we did such a long, because we don't usually do sessions that long. The reason that we did a session that long for Kingdom Hearts 3 was because last February, we were trying to get the game shot as fast as possible, and we could only meet so many weekends. I'm trying to remember specific weekends. But, and I'll talk about this more in a video that will hopefully I'm going to make soon. But to give a little bit of information, last spring, some of you may know this already because I've talked about it a couple of times before, but last spring it was my last semester of college. And that last semester of college involved being on a number of film sets, a number of student film sets, where basically the senior class were all producing their practicum films, their big final projects. I was not producing a film myself. I did write something that I was going to produce at one point, but for a number of reasons, that didn't pan out. I'll get into it another time. So instead, to fulfill my obligations, I had to fulfill key creative roles on a certain number of other things. And the two main things that I did was I was editing. I edited 2 other people's movies in their entirety. But everybody is required to serve a certain number of hours on other people's film sets, right? They're required to work a certain number of man hours, basically, a certain number of days. I guess, yeah, technically days, not man hours, because the man hours thing got messy. Well, I shouldn't say messy, but looks like you couldn't necessarily guarantee the man hours, so the days is what's important, because it's always possible that a day could wrap early. That never happened, but it could. You're supposed to work a certain number of days. Now, if you're producing your own film, then the days you're supposed to produce, you get 4 of them for free with your movie. I wasn't producing a film, so I had to be on basically every single set. The first set of the year was on that first weekend of February. Joey has to work during the weeks most of the times, and so basically on that occasion, I was on, the film sets are always Thursday to Sunday, and most of them are like 12 to 13 hour days. Not always, but they're usually really long days. They'll start in the morning and run until midnight usually. Not always, but usually. And the whatchamacallit. Basically, I worked the first film was one that I was editing. So number one, I just wanted to work on it anyway. A friend of mine, I wanted to work on as many sets as I could just to help people out. But it was also good for me to have some continuity for the production since I was going to be editing it later. So I was there on the Thursday and the Friday of the shoot. But come Saturday and Sunday, I was not on the set anymore because I was in this room filming Kingdom Hearts 3 Session 1 and Session 2 with Joey. We actually also 0.2 because on the Saturday, he got here a little bit before noon. We shot the last 2 parts of 0.2. I explained the plot of the Kingdom Hearts Key games. We watched the memory archive. Then we ate lunch. And then we actually started shooting Kingdom Hearts 3. And we only got up to like the Twilight Town stuff on the first day. Then on the Sunday, he came back and we did a really long day. And we blasted through everything up to, I forget the number of the episode, but it's the one called "It Is Your Duty to It Is Your Duty to Endure This," or whatever I named it. The second to last Tangled episode. Then we did another session that was everything from the last episode of Tangled to the episode with the snowboarding minigame on Frozen. Then after that, we did the longest recording session of the bunch, which was rebuilding Olaf all the way to everything before the last world, everything before Keyblade Graveyard. Up to Big Hero 6, and then the story events that happened immediately after Big Hero 6 was all one day. And that was a long day. But it was a situation where I was like, after I ducked out of that, after I ducked out of 2 days of that one set, I couldn't duck out of any more sets. And Joey, I know at one point he took time off work so that we could shoot. He got like a Friday off so that we could get more stuff shot. But like he's not always available on weekends either. So it was a situation of we wanted to finish the game as fast as possible so that we would be spoiled on as little as possible, which meant we had to shoot as much as we could on any given day. We actually very briefly discussed at the ending of that 10-hour recording session, do we want to go to the Keyblade Graveyard and try and finish the game tonight? Which, thank God we didn't, because it would have been another, like, 6 hours. But we did talk about it. And it is unfortunate because then after the main reason we even considered that was because we knew there was going to be, like, a 2-week gap in filming after that session and when we would be able to meet next. And in those 2 weeks, I did get spoiled on a lot of plot elements of the finale, which we'll talk about when we get there in the playthrough. But that's why we were doing long sessions like that, is because we were trying to avoid either of us getting spoiled on the contents of the game. And I found out a lot of stuff about the finale right before we filmed the finale in those 2 weeks when we weren't shooting. The rest of the game I really didn't know that much about. Now, thankfully, there were a lot of things that I didn't know about the finale, and most of the spoilers that I had about the finale were out of context and out of order. So it wasn't anything too horribly bad. DD Joey reaction did not hit home because we did not see the reactions on his face. I understand that complete mystery. I get that you guys want that kind of stuff, and honestly, sometimes I'd like you guys to have it too, because a lot of the time you may hear me getting upset about stuff, and you don't realize that I'm smiling when I'm saying this stuff. Like, I'm very, very rarely during these playthroughs do I get legitimately upset or mad. I'm usually smiling and laughing about stuff. But it's just, I don't want the show to be as much about us as it is about the thing that we're talking about, I guess, if that makes any sense. There's a whole discussion surrounding why we don't use the cams that I don't really want to get into right now. Part of it just being it's more work, honestly. It's a lot of work. It's a lot more work than you might think. Billy the Kid Lawrence with a $10 donation. Thank you again, man. Thanks for clearing some stuff up. I was confused about the mobile games, by the way. You and Demo279, that's the guy who did the recaps of the mobile games, right, have helped me wrap my brain around the chronology of the mess. Also crabs. Yes, crabs are today. Kendall Hart says, can't believe it's been over a year since this game came out. Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while at this point, hasn't it? Oh, DualShock 4 disconnected. Well, might as well start building the first thing. I have a sketch here of kind of what I'm thinking about. This is a little bit different than what we talked about previously, because obviously, for anybody who's showing up new today, hopefully everybody has some continuity of what we're doing. But we are building Gummi ships in the style of what hypothetical space forces of Disney Castle and Radiant Garden would build. So we're building stuff in the style of kind of the typical Gummi ship construction, looking like stuff that Chip and Dale would have built, then building stuff in something more resembling a Final Fantasy style of what a Sid Highwind might build. We have here the Dragonfly DW, which is supposed to be to be clear also, again, if you're new, these things are not all built to scale. They can't be. That's not how the Gummi ship stuff works, unfortunately. So even though these all take up like the same amount of space on a grid, you have to use your imagination a little bit. This is meant to be essentially a single-man specialized fighter. This is the Lingering Willy, which is the capital ship for the Disney Castle Navy. We didn't fill in the bottom because we were getting close to our cost limit. It didn't have blocks left, but you're supposed to imagine that there's probably a hangar down there that ships can come out of and stuff, so it's quite large. That cockpit is not like a 1 or 2 men sitting in it cockpit. It's like the size of the command deck that you would see on like a Star Destroyer in Star Wars or whatever. It's a very large ship. Obviously a little bit inspired by Steamboat Willie type design, named Lingering Willie. The chat helped with most of these names. I built Dragonfly DW off screen. Everything else you're about to see was built during the streams. L2 True Blue. The chat wanted to name something after Joey. People were saying use his infamous catchphrase "listen," which I wasn't really sure how we were going to work that in, but instead we've named it after the Sonic album, Listen to True Blue, an album of Sonic music. This is meant as a light, high-speed, single-man reconnaissance vehicle. It's listening in on enemy communications and whatnot. Thumper 1928 is a bomber for the Disney Castle Armada. Heavy payload. The Viper Halberd, named after one of Sid Highwind's weapons from Final Fantasy VII, is essentially meant to be a capital ship for the Radiant Garden Fleet, though significantly smaller in size than the Lingering Willie. This would be a significantly smaller thing. This is designed and this is inspired primarily by the designs of the Shera from Final Fantasy VII Advent Children and the Highwind from Final Fantasy VII. Since this would be the ship that Sid himself is probably flying, wanted to design something that's kind of in between those two ships, was the idea. And the Zazu CF-94, which is a single-man, lightweight, high-speed fighter craft for the Disney Castle Fleet. Obviously, color scheme and name is supposed to emulate Zazu from the film The Lion King, which came out in 1994, hence 94. And CF standing here for Circle of Flight, which was the initial name that people were jazzed about in chat before we eventually kind of started. We toyed around with the name of that quite a bit. Drew asks with a $2 donation, sketches on cam, perhaps. I don't know if you'll even be able to see it. It's not a very good one, the one that I have right now. It's pretty simplistic. The idea behind this next one that we're going to make in a second here is essentially if the Disney Castle folks have the Royal Knights, right? But Radiant Garden doesn't necessarily have a standing army, so how would they conduct, how would they fight people who are on the ground? They need some kind of assault vehicle that's designed to hit ground targets. So this is designed to be a sub-atmospheric strike vehicle, is the idea behind this one. And we're gonna get the Final Fantasy elements here in a way that I initially thought we wouldn't really be able to pull off, but I had kind of an idea for this one, and it should kind of work. True Blue might be my favorite, says Dane. I honestly like True Blue's design too. I'm happy with most of the things we built so far, honestly. Billy the Kid Lawrence, why didn't they just kill themselves then? My favorite Joey reaction to DDD organization members being back. NP Bro, I took your advice about the DLC. As being an X-Bone player, I couldn't get it yet anyway. After watching the cutscenes, I'm thinking about waiting for the price to go down. Generally speaking, like as we talked about before, and honestly, part of me kind of regrets making that little PSA video that we did. I don't know, it felt kind of weird to do. I don't like the idea of making messages about don't buy products. It's not really what we're here to do. I'm not here to be mean to anybody. But it was just, we felt like Joey especially, and I as well, kind of felt like the value wasn't quite there. I think that like we said during that video, if you're into the gameplay stuff, if you're like, I want to do data fights, I want to do really hard, really challenging boss fights that I'm gonna have to spend hours learning even. Wow, excuse me. I'm gonna have to spend hours and hours learning even just one of them. I think that DLC is absolutely worth the price of admission. But honestly, the balance patch that the game got that just improves Sora's combo string is free, and it probably does more to improve the game than the actual paid DLC, but whatever. Crossburn said, at some point last year, you said something along the lines of, I saw an out-of-context spoiler that's so ridiculous that I'm convinced it has to be a high-quality fake. Did it end up being fake? Okay, I don't know exactly what you're referring to when I said, but I will respond to that. I saw something that I didn't think it was fake. It was that it was so outside of the realm of logic that I felt like it was an anti-spoiler. Basically, it wasn't like I was seeing, it wasn't like I was seeing a detail of the game. It's like, oh man, I wish I hadn't known about that. I was seeing something that was obviously real, but was so absurd and made so little sense to me that I felt like I had learned nothing by seeing it. I could not imagine a course of events that could have brought us to the still image that I was seeing. And yes, it was real. And I will address it in the final episode of Kingdom Hearts 3. Natalie Hernandez, is there a limit on how many Gummi ships can be built in Kingdom Hearts 3? You have as many slots as there are here. So we have 1, 2, we have cease and desist. I forgot, we didn't talk about cease and desist for anybody who is new. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Okay, we got 20 more slots left. We got 20, we can build 20 more ships. We won't get that far, don't worry. Oops. Crossburn says, don't think of it as don't buy this product as much as don't fall for this scam. I don't like wording it that way, because even though I felt like there was a lot of recycled content in the DLC, it's not like people didn't work on it, and we don't know how much money they actually spent on it, and if they priced it what it needed to be priced, then that's the end of the discussion, you know, but we just don't know. Okay. Let's really start with these first. This is an important part of it. This is an important part of the ship here. Okay, and now we're gonna build around this. What we got here? They can be moved back slightly, I think. Question is, what else are we gonna do with this? I got a couple of, you know, I got a general idea of kind of what I want this to look like, but it's gonna take me a minute to kind of get the details sorted out. Epic Blue Boy, I'm assuming it was the Monsters Inc. one. Are you referring to Yeetus Vanitas? No. Or maybe you're replying to something that somebody else said. I don't know. Natalie Hernandez, lol, I was just wondering if you could build an enemy fleet as well. Organization 13 could have their own ships. I think that probably the enemy in this instance is mostly the Heartless, and the Heartless already have their own fleet, quotation marks. So people have proposed that previously, but I'm not sure I necessarily want to do it. It's a thought, though. It's a thought, certainly. Okay, now what do I want to do for the cockpit on this bad boy, though, is the question. I don't want to use... We've used this on the front of two things now, so what else can we use? We've used you a little bit. You're not going to work, because you're not going to be centered. I kind of like that as a design. But it might be a bit big. No, that's going to look ugly. It's going to look real ugly. Yeah, I think this might be the only option that I really like of how to make this look. We're gonna have to kind of figure out how to build around that to make it look the way that I want it to, though. I might even have to make the wings a little bit wider. I don't know. Curiouser and curiouser. I can't make it. Yeah, I can't make the wingspan any wider because the rotors won't go any wider. Yeah, but yeah. I wanted to I thought this would be a way to get the the rotor the propeller aesthetic in there a little bit. Very Final Fantasy, but I wasn't sure how to work it into any of these ships before. But if this is a sub-atmospheric, it works a little bit better. If it's kind of a helicopter, it's meant to hover. Epic Blue, I know the image of Sora as a monster with all the coding data when he was on one of the forums. Well, yeah, no. To be clear, I'm not talking about like a leak about the game, because that was a leak a couple months before we got the Monsters Inc. thing. I'm saying I saw a screenshot of the game after release, but before I played it. That was what the conversation was about a minute ago, just to be clear. No, the kid Lawrence, I believe I remember you ranking Monsters Inc. World as the best in terms of the story about a year ago. Am I remembering correctly? And if so, has that view changed for you at all? Yeah, I think I ranked everything like... I think I ranked it like Monsters, Toy Story, Big Hero, Tangled, Frozen, Pirates, I think. That's probably about where I still stand. Though with Pirates having the asterisk of we beelined the story. We didn't explore stuff. And I'm sure I'd like that world a lot better in its free roaming aspects. To be clear, I wasn't counting Olympus in that because I felt like Olympus was almost a totally different beast from everything else in the game. It was kind of a totally different thing. It's a whole new animal, so to speak. God, we really do not have many just generic squares, do we? Almost already out. How can I already almost be out? Why don't I have 99 of these? Weird. You'd think I'd have an infinite number, right? Didn't I use way more than... I don't know, what, it doesn't matter. You'd think I'd have an infinite number of these. I got 96 of these things. I got 99 of these. I guess I haven't shot enough random things in the first galaxy. Spending too much time shooting things in the other galaxies. So I don't have enough angular pieces. Can I buy that type of stuff in the store or not? I don't even know. I'm not gonna go look. Whatever. We'll work with what we have. Why don't I have a billion of those angular gummies? Blue Rocks and Starlight Way. Okay, so I gotta go... We could just go... we could go fly around and shoot a bunch of rocks in Starlight Way. Honestly, I could afford to have more of these. We'll save what we have. I want more blocks. Last time we flew around for like 5 minutes and showed off some of the ships. Now we'll do a little bit more of that. Power plant. Headphones back on. Do-do-do-do-do. Yeah, by the way, everybody let me know if there's volume issues with the music or whatever, if it needs to be louder or quieter or anything like that. See you later, Billy the Kid Lawrence. Makes me want to put my hands in my pockets and run around the P3 music people are talking about. I don't remember the controls. There we go. Come on, give me what I want, darn it. 5, that's not good enough. There's 1, I got 1 for 1. We need that G01 type. Got another one. Ha. We're gonna get so many blocks. Cameron asks, do the secret bosses intrigue you at all, Jacob? Did you ever beat KH2 FM Data Organization? I never did completely beat the KH2 FM Data Organization because after the Kingdom Hearts 2 playthrough, I don't think I really booted that game up again. And I was working on all that stuff at the time to potentially do it, in the playthrough because we were possibly going to do those after we finished the main campaign, and that just didn't happen. I did beat Lingering Will, and I want to say that I beat, like, half the data organization, but I could be wrong about the actual numbers there. I never beat it, and someday I will go back and beat it, because I enjoyed those fights, so I'd like to finish it at some time. Ooh. Unfinished battle. That's what we're talking about right now, is my unfinished battles. This track plays for, like, one fight in Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and then never plays again, and it's very odd. It just comes up out of nowhere, and it's amazing, and then it never... And it's like a relatively unimportant story fight. Yeah, I spent hours and hours grinding out blue rocks in the second galaxy to get... Because by that point, I didn't need, like, the low-level Keyblade upgrade materials, so that's why I don't have stuff from this galaxy, because I mostly did that in the second galaxy. That makes sense. Yoko Shimomura did a lot of the music for the first Xenoblade Chronicles. Not all of it, like some people think, but she did a good chunk of it. It's unfortunate that often when multiple composers worked on a project, you never know who did what, especially in video games. Stuff gets credited weird sometimes, especially when there is no official album release. I don't know if Xenoblade Chronicles even had an album or not. Would have had to have multiple albums with the quantity of music that it had. It would have had to have multiple releases. Chat, so see if I got anything to talk about while I'm flying around doing this. Brad P., I was worried after those last 2 episodes if you still enjoyed the game, but then I realized obviously you do in some capacity, or else you wouldn't be playing it for these streams. Well, to be fair, I'm not playing the game. I'm playing one mini game from it. I'm playing the Gummi Ship Constructor, which was partially a joke, partially just something I actually wanted to do because I thought it would be fun. I will be blunt about my feelings on Kingdom Hearts 3. I think that most of it is fine. I really do not like the ending. I think that the gameplay of it is not as good as Kingdom Hearts 2 or whatever, but I'm also one of those guys who, despite the fact that I have talked at length about some of the gameplay problems of Birth by Sleep and Dream Drop Distance, I also think that generally those games are enjoyable. So even though there are problems with Kingdom Hearts 3, I acknowledge that while it may not have the you know, how do I put this? Kingdom Hearts 2 is not DMC. It's not DMC 3. Or DMC4, but it's still, I guess it's closer to that, but not every game needs to be that necessarily, so, you know, whatever. It's not that, it's not important for this game to necessarily be at that level, and I can appreciate and understand that. I think that for the average consumer, I can acknowledge that the Disney content in this game is, you know, probably approximately what they wanted and expected, you know, 7 out of 10 stuff. For me, as a hardcore fan with certain desires for the series to get better and move in certain directions, most of the Disney stuff cumulatively probably comes out to like a 5 out of 10 for me. But to be very clear, I don't consider that a negative. We're not talking about an IGN review score here where anything below a 7 is just garbage. I'm saying a 5 is like, it's enjoyable, it's fine. I'm not necessarily sure that I'd be in a hurry to experience it again. Didn't change my life, but it was agreeable. It was fine. To be clear, I'm saying that with the idea that there's good stuff and bad stuff in the Disney even the worst stuff that we're making fun of during the playthrough with the Disney worlds is mostly just like goofy. It's, you know, it's nothing like actively bad. I think the vast majority of this game is perfectly enjoyable. I just don't care for the ending, like, at all. There's like 3 things in the ending that I like. And the ending's long and has a lot of things in it. But that's a conversation for another day. Literally another day. The episodes will come out eventually, and then these conversations will happen. I wonder how much money those circles actually give you, because it doesn't show an indicator anywhere on screen. So how would you ever know how much money they actually gave you? They might not even be giving you money at all. It might just be there to guide you around. So mysterious. But yeah, no. I'm just flying through here because hopefully it'll leave me more asteroids. Because I mostly cleared out that last section that we were in a second ago. Now there's a world over here. There's not going to be any asteroids. I must go somewhere with asteroids. Those asteroids? Those are asteroids. Oh, Jack. Have a suplex chat. $2 donation. Thank you very much. Yalsh asks, are you going to play the FF7 remake? We've talked about this before a little bit. I mean, I'm sure I'll play it. The plan had been that the game was going to come out like a week or so before Joshua would have been back here on spring break, and myself and Joey and he were all going to stream, not necessarily the whole thing, but we were going to do a couple of sessions, and, you know. But now the game has been delayed, and Joshua will not be here when it's out, so Joey and I might still stream a little bit of it, but the point is that there was a plan, and there hasn't really been a discussion about a new plan. I'm sure that I'll play it at some point. Whether or not you see it on the channel is up for debate, and you definitely won't be seeing a full playthrough if it's on the channel. You would just see us play like a couple of hours on it on stream or in a ramble or something like that. I don't think we're gonna we don't have any real reason to do a full playthrough of it. And to be clear, that's not out of a dislike or disdain for the subject matter or whatever. It's just that we've already done a playthrough of Final Fantasy VII, and I don't know, maybe Joey and I will finish filming other stuff we've talked about filming, and we'll be out of ideas, and we'll be like, you want to shoot FF7? And we'll be like, sure, and then we'll shoot FF7. Who knows? But I doubt it. Wouldn't get your hopes up for a full LP of that. But you'll probably see us play a little bit of it. Ow, it did no damage. Alright, that's probably some substantial progress. Crossburn says, KH3 is just really boring for me up until the story starts, and then it's really frustrating and really boring. To be clear, I have issues with the other stuff leading up to it as well. Like I said, I feel 5 out of 10 about most of the game, which, again, for me, is a fine, enjoyable video game. But it's not amazing, and things could have certainly been done to make it better. But I also don't begrudge anybody who likes this game, because I get it. You know, I see it. It's similar to DDD. You know, I see it. Excuse me. We had 14 before, so we picked up about 15 more. Would have been nice if we gotten even more than that, but that's something. Hey, those Hat in Time streams are still there for anybody who hasn't watched them. Anybody who's itching for more content. There's some lag in them and stuff because the streaming setup was still kind of screwed at that point, but they're still fun, I promise. Oh, look, the perfect amount, unless I need more, and then it's not the perfect amount at all. People are talking about. I see. There's some conversation. I guess after the conversation about Unfinished Battle from Xenoblade Chronicles. I saw people talking about the merits of Xenoblade Chronicles X, which I have not played, but Joey actually played. We talked about it a bit in the Chain of Memories playthrough, actually. And he talked about it again on Tangled World. Never really had an extended conversation about it. I know that he has mixed feelings. Bum 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 ba da da dum da 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 do. Linus is checking out. See you later, Linus. Dane says, beaten Hat in Time twice already. It's so good and adorable. I've beaten it twice, too. Once for fun, and then once on stream with you guys. Crossburn says, what are your thoughts on streaming the DLC for Hat in Time? My thoughts are it's not on console right now, and I am a Mac guy for the most part. I guess I do. I mean, I have a PC that I could hook up and we could stream game footage off of. I just have to figure out the ins and outs, because I did that once and it didn't... I did that once a while ago, then some stuff changed and it doesn't work anymore. Because I do own it on PC too, because I bought it twice, because I wanted to give them money. And also because I knew I wanted to play it on PC eventually anyway. I need to get a proper PC at some point. I'm probably gonna turn on some more lights in here. I'm a little bit dark. But I'd like to stream the DLC of A Hat in Time at some point, but it's not on console right now, and I can't really do PC at this moment, and I got other things to stream at present time anyway. And not a ton of people watch The Hat in Time in the first place, so maybe I'll try something else. Xenoblade X is really fun, says Crossburn. The main story definitely takes a backseat, but the gameplay and side quests are excellent. Doroko O asks Jacob, when the top for the 2019, my top games of 2019, I didn't really start work on a script, but I figured out what the games would be if I made that video, but I got other videos I want to make first. I actually wanted to make like a gaming in the 2010s video at the end of last year, and I was too busy and didn't get around to it. I might still do it anyway, even though it'll be late, because who cares? But I got other things that are simpler that I want to make first. Making a top 10 games video of any kind, or making anything that covers a lot of stuff, just means I got to get footage from a lot of stuff, which is a ton of work. A lot of time. Give me a second. Drew is out. Enjoy the shipbuilding, he says. Enjoy whatever you're going to do, Drew. I'm going to turn on some more lights. That's a little bit better. Dane says Devil May Cry 5 better be on there. I didn't play Devil May Cry 5, so it can't be on there. Once again, I wish that I could make something a little bit thinner than what we're actually winding up with here, but that's okay. Excuse me. There it was. I knew there was another one. Okay. All right. Videosity 1 says, Jacob, any chance we get more Valkyria Chronicles? Do you mean on my channel, or do you mean in existence? Because I thought the series was dead, and then they made 4, so who knows. On my channel, probably not, but never say never. Wait, hold on. How many of these do I have? Only 1. I got 2 of these. Because I kind of wanted to do... Hold on just a second. If I'd had 2 of the kind of oblong cockpits, I would have placed them both like so. Hold on a second. I guess, I mean, it could be asymmetrical. There's no reason it couldn't be. I could do it on one side and then not on the other. The idea was to place it here. Get rid of these. And take this boy. Like that. Doesn't really look right with the... Because you have the other square next to it, though. Surely there must be a better way. I don't mind having it asymmetrical, necessarily. Because I kind of like that idea if I can get it to work properly. But I don't think it's going to work. Let's see. Something a little bit different. Let's see here. For right now, I might slide you forward if I create more real estate with which to slide you onto, but we'll figure that out in a second. You're getting Valkyria Chronicles confused with Valhalla Knights. Epic Blue Boy, how's the playthrough of Persona 5 going? Oh, I beat that last summer. Beat that last summer before Joshua left town for college, so we're covered on that front. Sorry, folks, just skimming chat real fast. Pirate Fox, curious, Jacob, I don't know if this has been asked before or if anyone knows, but what KH game is your favorite one with the least mess of a game to it? Kingdom Hearts 1 is my favorite, with the acknowledgement that the gameplay of some of the other games is superior, but I like the level design of that game, and I like the narrative of that game, and art style, and everything about that game I really like. Even the stuff that's not so great, I generally enjoy. I think I am going to go with kind of an asymmetry here after all. That's okay. I don't mind. We'll at least start with that and maybe change our minds later. We'll see how it goes. Is there a way to kind of match what's going on here? Don't think so. Well, hold on a second. Oh, that does match. Okay. All right, that's fine. We'll do that then. And I guess we'll put another weapon system of some kind over here in a parallel position. There's no reason there can't be additional. This is some kind of, like I said, we're planning this as some kind of sun and kind of air-to-ground assault vehicle. There's no reason there can't be a second kind of deck for observation or something like that. There can be many functions to this ship. Our cost is skyrocketing real fast, though. That's okay, though. Let's see. Excuse me. Now, obviously, in reality, this thing would need some kind of rear-placed thrust, but for right now, we're just going to give it bottom. I imagine I'm thinking about, like, this thing swooping in, and those engines lighting up to slow it down, and then it gets into a hover, blasts people, then it spins up again and speeds off. So I don't have this in the sketch. I also had a little kind of rear platform coming out. Hold on 1 second. Maybe that's where I should... Yeah, actually, yeah, you know what? Hold on. I like that better. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. This isn't going to look exactly like how I sketched it, but unfortunately, with the Gummi ship limitations, that's something you're always going to encounter regardless. Put that there instead. Yeah, I like that. Okay. How expensive are these? These take up 2, right? I don't like how it looks though. 70, 150, 210. Okay, we're gonna swap to this just for cost purposes. Because again, we're not actually flying these things. Speaking of, I don't know. I really like the 4-pronged look of the one that's there. But how expensive is it? 150 versus 60. Yeah. If we really start closing in on our cost, then we might have to get rid of that. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. And it flies away again. It comes swooping in at a high speed. Kicks in the afterburners on the bottom. Slows itself down, stabilizes, shoots, turns, flies away again. Flies off. All right, needs a little bit more design work, and then we'll get to the paint job in a minute here. So there's essentially nothing connecting the front to the rear kind of rings. We need to make that a little bit more, slightly more structurally sound, so to speak. I'd kind of like to have more guns, but that's not going to happen with the way that the cost on these things works. 90 for the triangular-looking thing. That kind of looks neat. These are 70. I could slap one of these on instead of the circular ones. Yeah, it's just going to be... It's going to give us more options here because 50 to 110... Hold on, how much is this for one of these three-pronged things? 70? Okay. For the sake of being able to put more total guns on it, we're going to put the cheaper ones on, which don't have quite the aesthetic that I wanted, but that's okay. Mission is still going to be accomplished at the end of the day. I don't have... I wish I had more of these. More of these basic... the Vernier G, I wish I had 2 more of those, because I would put another one here and here. That ain't going to happen. I guess I could use these. How expensive is one of these? 32? It's not that expensive. It's got to be really exposed, though, for it to work. It's still it's only technically 1 block, even though it looks like it's a stacked 2-block thing. Yeah, that ain't gonna work. Oh, well. Oh, well. This isn't the MCU helicarrier. What are you talking about, Epic Blue Boy? This is significantly smaller. My primary inspiration for this, honestly, with the... Because I can't do it, obviously, but when I was putting the bubble cockpits on the front... I guess I could have done it, but I didn't. I was kind of more thinking about the LAT from those Star Wars prequels. Which is the, one of the only ships from the Star Wars prequels, which I actually know the technical name of. The LAT is the gunship that they show up in at the ending of Episode 2. Like, the dropship things that have the sliding doors on the side that they climb into. And they have, like, multiple forward-mounted guns, missile launcher in the top, and then the wings. Either of them have little gunner positions where people are sitting in the wings, rotating these 360-degree guns around and shooting at things. It's one of my favorite Star Wars ships. I don't like the prequels, but I acknowledge that there's some good art design in them. People got really mad about them not being Star Wars, but I don't know, some stuff is silly. Some stuff is silly. Jetster Dexter and his 50s cafe is weird, but I like some of the ship design in the prequels, and I really like the LAT. But the Genndy Tartakovsky Clone Wars cartoon is really responsible for a lot of my affection for space military hardware. Very cool. Dane says, KH1FM has the worst synthesis farming, though, gotta say. See, it's good because I never worry about any of that kind of stuff. I've only ever been seriously concerned about synthesis farming in these games for playthrough purposes. For example, when we shot Remind, I spent several days grinding out attack ups, defense ups, and magic ups, which was a good way. I was also just using an excuse to get myself back into the game so I wouldn't completely embarrass myself when we were filming it, if that footage ever comes out, which that playthrough may not release, who knows. But grinding all that stuff out really emphasized a lot of the problems with the game's design for me, going through a lot of that stuff again. Also some things that worked. Low Altitude Assault Transport. That's what it's called. It says Videosity 1. Excellent choice. I had no idea what it stood for. I knew it stood for something, but I didn't know off the top of my head. Kendall has to go walk her dog. She'll be back in about 30 minutes. Adios. Excuse me. Wow. Cameron S. responding to Dane's synthesis comment. I did find the synthesis in 1 to be the most rewarding because the equipment was actually good, whereas in 2, it's just a lot of junk that you can find in chests. Acetone FF15 says, yeah, well, I see why many would prefer KH1 over KH2, but from pure execution, variety, and design standpoint, KH2 is outstanding. Yeah, no, KH2 is a better produced game, because there's a lot of stuff going on in KH1 where it's clear they didn't quite have an idea what they were doing yet, and they've got a lot of fingers in different pies in that game. With Kingdom Hearts 2, the focus is much more narrowed, and instead of being really bound to their command deck system, they do a little bit more with it. where, you know, you look at the mini games on 100 Acre Wood and KH1, and a lot of them are really rough because they're all bound to the command menu, right? Which the command menu has always been bad. It's bad in all of the games. Just gonna get that out there right now. But the it's nice that in Kingdom Hearts 2, with all of the little mini games that they have on 100 Acre Wood World, that they all have their own systems. And, you know, something like the Sonic Unleashed mini game where you're riding on the honeypot is something that couldn't have existed in Kingdom Hearts 1. The closest thing is like the vine sliding game you do with Tarzan, which is real rough. It's very rough, way too long. It takes a really long time to beat in its entirety because you have to do each segment once and then start over again, and you have to go halfway across the map to start over again. It's a mess. But as I've talked about, there was clearly a hesitation when designing Kingdom Hearts 2 to stray into some of those areas that they should have improved instead of just dropping, like platforming, like exploration, like puzzle solving, which are essentially just completely absent from Kingdom Hearts 2. And a lot of those things I liked in Kingdom Hearts 1, even though they were rough, and I wish that they'd improved them the same way that they improved the combat design. That's the main reason that I have... Also, and to be clear, because... Like, there are some older videos, like my my top 10 things Kingdom Hearts 3 needs video, where I talk about the gameplay of KH2 sucking, and people were like, what are you talking about? It's because I never played FM. Sure, the game feel in Kingdom Hearts 2 was always nice, but I really, like... I vastly preferred the slower, weightier movement of Kingdom Hearts 1 comparatively, because I actually felt like I was being challenged and I had to think about what I was doing, whereas KH2 was always so simple, even on the hardest difficulty. Now, with Critical and FM, it's significantly better. But back in the days of PS2, before I'd seen speedruns, I always preferred Kingdom Hearts 1's gameplay. Kingdom Hearts 2 is a much more casual pick-up-and-play experience. Just boot it up and run around and fight some monsters, but in terms of a long-form playthrough of a video game, I always found Kingdom Hearts 1 more rewarding, personally. Okay. What are we going to do for this thing color-wise? Back out for 1 second. Because we've got, okay, let's see here. We're going for our, you know, blue, gold, and gray, generally speaking. All the smaller ships have been pretty blue prominent, so maybe we should go for gray and gold primarily on this thing. Videosity one says, wow, do you at least know what an AT-AT is? It's an all-terrain assault something? I don't know, dude. It's not important. Yeah, Acetone FF15 gets on something that's also really important to me. I agree, especially with how fluent KH2's platforming moveset is. It sucks how you don't get to use it anywhere outside of the Cavern of Remembrance. If you cut the glide from Kingdom Hearts 2, and you just had fully maxed out high jump, quick slide, and the aerial dodge, you could make a really good platforming game out of that. And then you could have the glide be available situationally for certain things. Because I really like the movement of the way I talked about this a little bit. I hate the movement in Kingdom Hearts 3 of everything is so slow. When you land, Sora stops walking. When you jump, like if you want to get into a glide in Kingdom Hearts 3, here's the procedure you have to go through. There are 2 ways to do it. Number 1, you jump and continue to hold down circle, and then at the apex of the jump, Sora will go into a glide. Or 2, you jump, then double jump, then hold it down, which requires you to jump, reach, and then do the full double jump animation, and then only when you're starting to come down for that to Sora go into a glide. And then when you leave the glide, you lose all forward momentum, and it has 1 set speed. Kingdom Hearts 2, you can do a quick double tap, which will make Sora do a tiny jump, then into the forward momentum double jump, which just gets at maximum acceleration in like a frame, and then go immediately into a glide, and you're at full speed 2 inches off the ground. If you're fast enough and you know how to do it. Or you can jump once and go into a glide. You can jump, double jump, go into a glide, and you have much more control of your momentum. And when you drop it, you don't lose all your forward momentum. movement in Kingdom Hearts 3, it's just so unsatisfying. Like, even more so than, I think I said this during one of the previous Gummy Ship streams, more so than the bad ending. I think my least favorite thing about this game is that when you jump and hit the ground, you stop moving. And stuff about moving while using spells and the glide and the double jump. I don't like moving as Sora in this game. It does not feel good to do. It is not pleasing action. Which is a real shame. Okay, we'll start with kind of gray, and we'll work our way out from there. See what else we can do with it. Start simple. Upgrade as we go. Hold on, one more spot that I missed. Okay. We'll start from this and work our way outward. Actually, there's a fun tech exploit in KH3 where if you jump by holding O and immediately swap keyblades, it immediately transitions into a glide. Ah! I mean, that's neat, but that's such a headache that that's the only way to do it quickly. Eh. And then Razor X is talking about tech points. I also like the tech points because, like, I don't know. It was cool to discover early on in Kingdom Hearts 1 that, like, oh, there are elemental weaknesses and stuff like that. Like, there are systems within this game to be exploited, because in some of the other games you don't always necessarily have that. There are elemental weaknesses occasionally in the other Kingdom Hearts games, but I really liked it with Kingdom Hearts 1. It's like right at the beginning they show you there are elemental weaknesses that can be exploited in this game, and they encourage you to do it by giving you the experience points. Obviously, just doing more damage is nice too, but you do so much damage in the other Kingdom Hearts games, except for, I guess, Birth by Sleep and stuff, where you do horrible chip damage, but there's, exploiting elemental weaknesses doesn't quadruple your damage in that game either. That looks a little bit better. I like that. I want it to be a bit more filled in. Just look kind of ugly the way that it was just sitting there. Tech points weren't super duper important in terms of actually leveling up, but it was really important in terms of teaching the audience that there are more mechanics to interact with than might otherwise be immediately perceivable. Especially, again, it's an RPG designed for idiot children. So having something to inform you, hey, pay attention to this kind of stuff. Being able to shoot, this sounds obvious, but like seeing a big crowd of the red Nocturnes and shooting a blizzard at it and seeing the extra experience points pop up and going, oh, the fire guys don't like ice. That's a really important component of game design, to give people feedback like that. It's not always obvious when you exploit elemental weaknesses, even in typical RPGs. Now, everybody's keeping track of the math on damage output in RPGs, especially when there are way too many numbers to keep track of. Final Fantasy 13 and games like it are just hilarious, where it's like there are like 6 different numbers on screen, all of them are 4 digits, and they don't even appear as a static number. They like tally up and tick to be animated and cool, and it's like, these numbers are absolutely meaningless. All they are is a hit indicator, essentially. I can't process any of these numbers. That's Tony15 saying exactly what I was just saying about RPG design, where it almost doesn't matter. Also, elemental weaknesses in KH1, like, matter, unlike 90% of FF games, where, sure, it's more damage, but you could just be mashing attack instead, and it would be just as good. Yeah. It's part of why I've talked about I like the Gambit system in 12, because it's like, hey, we know the design of this game is bullcrap. You wanna just expedite the whole process? Noah Snodgrass asks, do you know the cult classic Skies of Arcadia? Apparently I might be getting a sequel. I am familiar with Skies of Arcadia, but I haven't played it or watched it. I know what it is. I'm going to watch it eventually. It's not getting a sequel. One of the creative leads is asking fans to make a stir to show that there's public support for it because he wants to make a sequel. Now, the fact that he's coming out and saying that indicates one of two things. Either A, it's already in development, and he's just trying to get, or it's already in talks, and he's just trying to do a, glorified market test. Or B, he's someone important enough at Sega that he can do that, and it doesn't hurt his job security. That it doesn't necessarily mean a game is actually going to get made. Okay. All right, let's see. It's a bit darker shade than we've used previously. But the other yellow is just, it doesn't look gold. It looks yellow, and that's kind of too orange. How about this, kind of this peach color? If it was metallic, maybe. Hold on a second. We're gonna test out some colors here, folks. Bum 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 ba-dum. That looks the most like gold when it's metal, but if it's not metal, it probably needs to be. This color might actually look a little bit better. Yeah, that's nice and gold. The question is what kind of material do I want to turn this into, because I don't want to give this kind of a metal look, but not completely. I say that I learned that I actually like the look of this plastic one pretty well. It kind of gives it that glossy look without being the hard metal sheen that we saw otherwise. So maybe we'll go with this for a big chunk of it. No, whatever the front of this is made out of, the rest of this rear probably needs to be made out of too. Razor X235, also appreciate the 1000 Year Door music. It's one of my favorite games of all time. It's one of my favorite games of all time, too. I love Paper Mario the 1000 Year Door. There's probably some bias there, because it was essentially the first long-form RPG that I played that wasn't like Pokemon Silver or whatever. So there's some bias. But I absolutely adore 1000 Year Door. It's so good. It's really subversive, too. In a lot of ways, I didn't appreciate, when I played it when I was younger, but going back to it now, I'm like, God, this game is actually incredibly smart in a lot of its design decisions. Not just, like, for jokes, but, like, for just, like, making fun of the game design of Mario games, all kinds of stuff. That game's really sharp. Okay, now what color do I want these to be? Switch back to gray just to see how it looks again. Is this the gray that I was using before or not? Let's see. Yes, this is it. And that actually keeps the tone pretty close to the standard Gummi tone, because oftentimes when you change the material, it changes the color tone a lot. This actually keeps it pretty close. Check that out. Yeah, it looks pretty much the same color, except it's, it's just kind of glossy and shiny now. That's actually pretty nice. All right, cool. All right, that's a start. Now, want you also to be that shade. Okay, I think what I want to do here is have the interior on the lower section of the ship here. Up one, there you go. I'm gonna have that be gold, I think. That doesn't quite work the way that I wanted it to. I don't know. I think maybe the main front cockpit may have to be gray. I'll go ahead and change the colors of these guns too, because that's also messing with that's messing with the color profile of the whole thing, making it kind of harder to read. Hold on. There we go. That looks a bit better. It was too much before. That doesn't look that bad, though. Yeah, I'm liking that well enough, actually. Okay, change a couple more materials around, I think. I think I'm gonna make the front cockpit into this plastic one. Change it back to gray. Hold on. I want just a tiny bit of blue accent on this, and I'm gonna put it right here at the front. Maybe the cockpit needs to be blue if I'm gonna do that. Nah, that's too much. It's too much. Too much. Sometimes it's enough. Yeah, I think that's all it needs. Honestly, it could even be just a one blue stripe kind of in the middle here. Bottom could be gray again. Oh, I got it. Brain blast. There we go. All right. Okay, hold on. Done. That's it. That's the ship. I guess we make that front bit there underneath the cockpit gold. Kind of make the whole thing a bit more consistent. How does that look? Nah, it should stay gray. In fact, I think I'm going to change it to make this rear section here gray as well. It's not perfect, but that's pretty good. And we need to make more than 3 ships today. Or we need to make at least 3 ships today. We need to at least beat what we did last time. So we're going to move on. Now the question is, what do we call it? I'm thinking for the FF stuff from here on out, maybe we should aim for, like, names of classic FF monsters. I was thinking maybe, like, Wyvern or Yivrin, or however you're supposed to pronounce it. It's a aerial thing that's attacking things on the ground, perhaps. Razor asks, also, every so often I'll see you put Maximilian Dude footage in your videos. Do you watch him in spare time? Not really, fleetingly. I've watched some of his stuff occasionally. I put footage of his videos in two things that I can think of. I put him in the Final Fantasy 15, the marketing campaign of Doom video, and I was talking about how big of a deal the FF7 remake is. But that was just because he has one of the more famous reactions to that reveal trailer. And I put him in the top 10 video to talk about people that I watched playing video games when I was talking about things like Sea of Thieves and Blackout and PUBG. And I'll be totally frank, that was mostly just the achievement hunters was who I meant when I said I was watching that. But there were a few other people, and Max was just, I knew that he had done a couple streams of Blackout, and I wanted to cast the net a bit farther afield, so I grabbed some of his footage. I watched him stream Blackout like once or twice when I was trying to decide if I wanted the game or not. Black Ops 4, to be clear. The Blackout mode, the only part of the game that I care about. Cameron S. Gonna head out. Great chatting with you all. Had a really fun time. Thanks, Jacob and chat. See you guys in a future stream. ? See you later, Cameron S. Snodgrass, how are you streaming this gaming music? Are you using KH Insider? I'm using iTunes. I have iTunes open, and I've made a playlist for streams such as this. And I'm then piping the audio from my computer into the stream, and I am displaying the iTunes little scrubber, as you can see right here. Excuse me. I can open iTunes and I can grab this and I can drag it around and I can manipulate it as I wish. All right, hold on a second. Now, I want to just be, how do you pronounce this word anyway? What a word, right?
Wyvern.
Wyvern, says Google.
Wyvern.
A winged two-legged dragon with a barbed tail.
Wyvern.
Wyvern. Wyvern. In my head, I'm picturing the Wyvern from the original Kingdom Hearts. So, we're gonna say this is the Wyvern 02. I was thinking about 97, Final Fantasy VII. We're kind of going for a FF7 aesthetic with a lot of these things, but it's a little bit different. We already used 94 just a minute ago. All right, that's another one down, boys. Another one down. Not the best thing we ever built, but it's something. Now, I have to figure out what we're doing next, because I don't know what we're doing next. So, I gotta start seriously thinking about the next ship while also reading chat. Majora Z, sorry if you already answered this. I had to step out. Any chance you'd give the Halo games a go? They have a lot of environmental storytelling / EU references that could be dissected. Joey and I have talked briefly about doing some of the Halo games. It's not exactly on the top of our list, especially because it would be difficult to do 2. We don't have an Xbox One. Can you play the original on? Can you put Xbox original games into a 360? I don't even know. I guess technically it's going to be on PC at some point, but the only games that we could actually play right now, if we wanted to, would be Reach 1, 3, and I guess ODST. We couldn't do 2 right now. We could buy the remaster of Combat Evolved for 360, because we both own a 360, but neither of us own a 1. We've definitely talked about that, though, because I think we both like Halo a decent amount, and we thought that could be fun. But there's not as, I mean, I don't know. We're not necessarily like only looking for games where we have just tons of stuff to talk about, you know? It's also just things that we would play for fun. And we even talked about maybe just doing Reach, because that one kind of stands on its own, and we wouldn't have to worry about how we would incorporate 2. At least I know I've talked to Joey about the idea generally. I don't know if I talked about Reach and like just doing, some of this stuff is just conversations that I've had with myself in my head. With the imaginary Joey in my brain, not with the real one. We've definitely talked about doing Halo. It's something that I think we would both be into, because we both like Halo. But that would also be, I mean, if we did that, that's another, not that those games are incredibly long, but that's at least a 1, 2, 3, 3.5, 4 game commitment to do 1, 2, 3 ODST and Reach. So that's a lot of games. They're not the longest in the world, but as we said, as we've talked about in previous streams, we're hesitant right now to get into any really big, colossal franchises again, because Kingdom Hearts has taken us so much time. And if we were to get into another major franchise where I was doing intensive notes and we were doing the whole thing and we were going through all of them, it would probably be Metal Gear. But that would also take way more preparation than something like Halo, so I don't know. It all depends on what we have time to do and all kinds of stuff. And people, next ship idea should be from Cards Against Humanity. Pull a random card and design it. Don't have Cards Against Humanity, so that wouldn't work. But I like the idea. Melissa Jackson, Jacob, if I wanted to play Chrono Trigger, how would I go about doing that? Well, the Wii's Virtual Console doesn't exist anymore, and I forget if it ever came out on the Wii U's Virtual Console, and you may not own a Wii U. So there are a couple of ways to do it. Number 1, emulate, cheat, steal. Number 2, it is on PC now. The game is on PC. There were a bunch of issues with it because of the port of a crappy iOS version of the game, but they've patched it extensively. So it does work now. You can play it now. If that's the only way you can play it, you can get it on Steam. However, in my personal opinion, and some people will disagree with me on this, the best version of the game is on the Nintendo DS. The Nintendo DS version, number 1, doesn't have any of the garbage issues that you have to worry about with the PC and iOS version, because while they fixed a lot of the stuff in the PC version, it's not all fixed. There's a lot of little issues. But the other reason that the DS version is good, other than the fact that it just works and it doesn't have any garbage in it, is that it has a retranslated script. Now, there are certain things in the retranslated script that were important, and how do I put this? The original script was translated by one guy in the 90s, very fast, and a lot of the translation is kind of garbage. But there's also a lot of stuff that people really like in that game. There's a couple of iconic lines. Good Morning, Chrono, for example, is translated differently in the DS version, which is the iconic first line of the game, is the mother coming in and saying, Good Morning, Chrono. She doesn't say that in the DS version, in the retranslated script. Also, the character Frog, in the original version, he saith things as if he is in that one episode of SpongeBob where everybody sayseth words with the F on the end, tally-ho and gold. He has a ridiculous Old English script that doesn't make any sense, but it is hilarious. And a lot of people have very much internalized that version of the character. There are a lot of things about the original script that people would say are more iconic. However, I personally think that the script in the DS version is better. Number 1, I've been told, I can't say it because I don't speak Japanese, I've been told it's a more accurate translation of the source material, so if that is important to you, then there's that. But also, it is just a lot cleaner in terms of its localization. You don't run across as many lines where you're like, what? Okay, maybe maybe he meant this. It's a very well done localization. There's certain things that in the original game just didn't quite make sense. There's also certain times in the original game where they were dodging talking about certain content was censored. Not a whole lot. It's not like there was any, it wasn't like there was a sex scene in the game that got taken out or whatever. But references to alcohol and some other things got neutered in the original version. The best version of the game is the DS version. So if you still have a DS sitting around and you can find a copy of it, hold on. Let's see. That's up in my eye. Crap. Well, it's expensive now because it's old and obviously it's been out of print for a bit, but if you wanted to play it on DS, a new copy on Amazon runs you $65. That's a lot, obviously. But I also think it's a $60 video. I mean, it's a real video game. It's worth if you think of it like buying a new video game, it's probably that price might be justifiable to you. But also, there is a very good chance you can walk into a GameStop near you and they have it in the used DS little case that they have. The chances of it is extremely likely that you can find a cheap used copy of Chrono Trigger on the DS somewhere. OG Xbox discs work on 360, yes, but then that raises the other question. To keep up with our Amazon Googling here, how much is a copy of Halo 2 on Xbox original going to cost me? Well, this one says $40, and then another one says $2. I'm not sure I believe the one that says $2. $40 for an original Xbox copy, plus shipping. It's not unreasonable, of course, but... Noah Snodgrass, will you play Zelda or Professor Layton games on the channel? Epic Blue Boy. All right, I'm out. It's great talking to you guys. Great talking with some of you. See you guys in the next Pew Pew stream. See you later, Epic Blue Boy. Pipperod is trying to give me some crab. I appreciate it. Need plenty of that stuff. Build a ship based on the FF7 remake. I don't know how I would do that exactly. Nothing much to base it on. Emulation in the DS version is, says Razor, regarding Melissa Jackson's question about Chrono Trigger. I believe the DS version is the only re-release, though I feel free to quote me on that. That is accurate. I think you mean don't quote. I think you mean don't quote. Or no, yeah, don't quote. I think you said those. I think you mean don't quote me on that, but whatever. Paid $20 for my pre-owned Chrono Trigger DS GameStop. Not sure if it's more expensive now or not. Well, I mean, it just depends on where you go. Depends on how much that GameStop decides to value it at, probably. I mean, I guess I don't know. And there's other used game stores you can go to. There's plenty of places to be. I'm sure you can find a copy of it on DS reasonably priced, or emulate it. Or buy it on Steam. They've improved the version on Steam. It is not the ideal way to play it, but it is a way to play it. All right. Let's see here. So, for the Radiant Garden fleet, we have single-man fighter, reconnaissance vehicle, capital ship. We can say this is a bomber, even though it's not. Because why not? And we can do another bomber later if I had a specific design for it, I suppose. Disney fleet, we have capital ship, bomber, single-man fighter. I was thinking of the Zazu and Dragonfly as specialized, not necessarily as the standardized single-man fighter. So we could design another single-man fighter for each of them, but I don't have a specific design in my head right now. I'd have to kind of work on something. Videosity 1 says GameStop sucks. Sure, but they always have a cabinet of used DS and 3DS games. And I guarantee, I'm just saying, that's a place where you can find a copy of Chrono Trigger that isn't, $60. Kendall Hart says, honestly, it's going to be weird when the LP, I think you mean they, maybe, I don't know, LP something other than Kingdom Hearts. Haven't seen anything else we haven't really seen anything else from them. Long form, obviously, because we have done FF7 original, Hitman, though that was before anybody knew this channel existed, really. Aiden and I did Shovel Knight. Joey and I did Deltarune Chapter 1. That's about it, primarily. Because after Hitman, we haven't had time, because we've been in a race against time to finish Kingdom Hearts before 3 came out. We took a brief break for Deltarune Chapter 2, but that was like, you know, that was a one-day recording session, so it wasn't that complicated. As a point of reference, in case anybody's wondering, we've already started shooting other stuff. We didn't shoot anything for a while because I wanted to... I'll talk about this more in a video that'll come out soon. I said earlier... Remember earlier when I was talking about the issues with our recording of Kingdom Hearts... Earlier in the stream, I was talking in some detail about our recording of Kingdom Hearts 3 last year. And I said I would talk about it some more in a video that would be coming out sometime soon. I'll also talk about this more in a video that's coming out sometime soon, but there's no problem with saying it again. I'm looking down because I'm looking at my notebook, by the way. I'm trying to think of what I want to sketch, so not that I'm not ignoring you guys. I'm still talking. But the brain work. What was I talking about? After we finished filming Kingdom Hearts 3 at the ending of February of last year, I was too busy with school, being on a film set every other weekend, and editing two people's films, among other things, to shoot any more LP stuff with Joey, and I did not see Joey again until that summer after I had graduated. Around, I think we saw each other maybe once just to hang out, but I'm not 100% sure. But it was a couple of times to hang out, probably. But pretty much the first time we were really doing stuff again was when E3 was getting underway and we were beginning to stream, you know, right before that when we were streaming FF9 and then streaming E3 stuff and stuff like that. And since we were streaming when he was here, we weren't recording when he was here. And I did not want to record anyway because I still had, you know, Dream Drop Distance and Kingdom Hearts 3 and 0.2 sitting on a hard drive unedited, so I didn't need to be collecting more footage that was just going to sit there and, you know, collect proverbial digital dust. So we didn't really start shooting anything again until... When did we start shooting again? I don't have to... You guys can't see what I'm doing, so you aren't going to see what we've shot. I just get to go check the dates on it. Late November, early December. We started shooting a playthrough again in late November, early December. And at this point, a couple of things have been partially shot. Not the only thing that's been fully shot since Kingdom Hearts 3 is the Titanfall 2 playthrough, which is already out. But essentially, in November/December, Joey and I started shooting a new LP. Then when Joshua was in town for his Christmas break, he and Joey and I together, the three of us, started shooting another full LP that we did not finish while Joshua was in town. Excuse me. We did not finish while Joshua was in town, but Joey and I will finish without him at some point. After we finish filming, Joey and I started shooting playthrough number 1, the two of us, at the ending of November and in early December. We've only done, I think, 2 sessions of it so far. Because the only thing we've shot in 2020 so far was Remind. We shot 2 sessions of playthrough 1. When Joshua was in town, we shot 2 sessions of playthrough 2. Joey and I will resume filming playthrough 1 tomorrow, actually, if all goes according to plan. And after we conclude filming playthrough 1, we will then finish filming playthrough 2. Probably without Joshua, because he's not in town. Unless we happen to finish it when he's in town for spring break or something, then he'll be in it again. But we'll probably finish playthrough 2 without him. In addition to that, when Joshua was in town, we shot the Titanfall 2 playthrough 3, I guess you would say, but I can tell you the name of it because it's not a spoiler. We shot the Titanfall 2 playthrough. And additionally, Joshua and I started shooting something that we thought was just going to be a ramble, but we were having so much fun with it that we wound up shooting like 6 hours, maybe 5 hours. We shot a lot of it. And it's a relatively short game, so we're figuring when he's back in town for spring break, we'll just finish it, and it'll be a full LP, hence playthrough 4. So including Titanfall 2, 4 playthroughs were produced, essentially. Or no, weren't produced because they're not finished. 2 of them are not finished. 3 of them are not finished. 4 things are in existence floating around, counting Titanfall 2. Now, in addition to that, I have seen, after Aiden left my house after filming Kingdom Hearts 2's finale in 2018, I did not see her again for over a year until last October, where we saw each other for like 3.5 hours, and in that time period we shot an hour and a half playthrough of a short game. Will that playthrough come out? I don't know. I haven't even edited it, so it's not like is it a good or bad thing. It was basically, we had planned on spending a full day shooting stuff, hopefully, but then something came up and that couldn't happen. And the straightforward version is I'm not releasing that playthrough with Aiden if I don't see her again. She's just busy and out of town and has a lot of stuff going on and can't show up to film consistently. And I don't want to release a new playthrough with Aiden and like, look, here, it's Aiden, she's back, and then she's gone again for 2 years. So, you know, she's welcome to come and shoot stuff anytime, but she's busy. So technically that's another playthrough, though a short one. And that's not going to come out unless Aiden and I figure out some kind of arrangement where we can actually shoot somewhat consistently. And then Joey and I shot Remind, which will probably come out at some point. Remind will probably come out after playthrough 1 comes out, but before playthrough 2 comes out, most likely, if it comes out. Maybe it won't come out, who knows. So that's what? Playthrough 1, playthrough 2, Titanfall 2, playthrough 4, playthrough 5, Aiden playthrough, and playthrough 6, Remind. So 3 of those are in the can. 1 of them is out. It's Titanfall 2. We'll continue to work on those. And then after the 2 that Joey and I are currently shooting, we know at least 1 more that we're absolutely going to do, but it's going to take a long time before we get that far anyway, so discussion hasn't happened that much further. Kendall Hart, oh, sorry, dude, I didn't know you did any other games before then. No, it's no big deal. You have nothing to apologize for. That's a silly thing to apologize for. But yeah, no, we've done other games. We did over on, for anybody who's new, because some people have shown up on research runs and don't know, this is our secondary channel. Our main channel is called Frustrated Jacob, and over there, that's where we did our playthroughs of Kingdom Hearts 1 and Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories, as well as a playthrough of Final Fantasy VII. I guess technically it's still ongoing, but Joey and I are also doing a playthrough of Final Fantasy IX, so that's another thing we played that isn't Kingdom Hearts. And if we want to get into the deep lore, I did solo playthroughs of Mario Kart Double Dash and Persona 4 Arena Ultimax back in the day, but that was a different story entirely. Acetoni FF15. I know I'm one of the few who saw it, but the Hitman playthrough was awesome. Thank you. One of the other problems with the channel was that Research Runs was not monetized until like midway through the Kingdom Hearts 2 playthrough. So like, not that money is the only reason to do this stuff, but the fact is that YouTube isn't gonna feed videos to people if the videos aren't monetized, you know? So like, the entirety of the Hitman playthrough, the Shovel Knight playthrough, Jacob and Aiden playing the Game Boy Advance version of Chain of Memories, Research Ramble, Aiden doing the opening of Kingdom Hearts 2, and properly half of the Kingdom Hearts 2 playthrough were not monetized when those videos came out. Like, for real. It wasn't until, I think, Second Visit Agrabah that the videos were monetized on upload. Now, as a point of reference, people have gone back and watched those videos plenty since they were originally monetized, so they've still made money. They still made plenty of money. They just didn't make that day one money the way that YouTube videos, actually do, because YouTube videos make most of their money on the day they're first uploaded, unless the algorithm likes to get freaky, as it does with my Zelda Towers video that I did over on the main channel a while ago, where just every now and then YouTube decides, oh, it'll get a couple 100,000 views today, and I'm like, okay, why? Yeah, JG, Aiden is back, confirmed. Yeah, no, I'm actively deconfirming Aiden being back. And it's A-I-D-A-N is how you spell her name. It's with an A-N at the end. Though it's okay. I think she's as amused by everybody misspelling her name as I am. She's had to deal with it her whole life. She still finds it funny, so I find it funny too. Oh, the Type 0 playthrough, God. Forgot. Acetoni FF15 says, don't forget the Type 0 playthrough. When is that continuing, by the way? Boring. Crossburn says, and Mirror's Edge. Sure, but I was thinking, I was trying to narrow it specifically to full playthroughs, was what I was thinking. Because there are, in terms of research rambles, there's Battlefront 2, there's Final Fantasy 12, there's Mirror's Edge, there's Valkyria Chronicles 4 demo, there's... surely other things. I did a research ramble of Celeste by myself. From a pure, technically speaking, though it was a joke, it was disguised as part 1 of Kingdom Hearts on the day that the game came out. Joey and I technically did a ramble in the Resident Evil 2 one-shot demo. And hopefully there will be more research rambles in the future. Of course, everything that we shoot, takes time. We only have so much time. We only get to meet every so often. So, especially, for the last year, our focus was getting KH done. So we didn't really stop to shoot much else, except for when we stopped to shoot Deltarune, because it was a day out of our lives. It was one evening to shoot Deltarune, even now it's like, well, we have other playthroughs we want to shoot, because Kingdom Hearts 3 is going to be done eventually, and then other stuff's going to have to come out. But Joey and I might take a break and shoot some rambles at some point in the near future. Okay. Single man Disney fighter, maybe. I mean, we could technically already have the Kingdom, so... But the Kingdoms... Or no, the Highwind, I mean, whatever it's called. The canon Kingdom Hearts ship. But it's, it's for multiple occupants. I'm a single man fighter. I don't know. I mean, the Zazu fulfills that purpose. We don't have to do that necessarily. So what else could we build here? What else could we build? We could build a more conventional single man fighter for the FF fleet. I had a picture of a bunch of FF airships. Perhaps I will look at it and it will spark creativity in my brain. Piprod says, I watched the start of Ni no Kuni 2 after your description. It mad, isn't it? Isn't it wild? And then you're like, oh, but the game isn't gonna be like this. Turn off. Kendall Hart offering some misspellings of Aiden that I will save to send to her for her amusement. I was telling her about some misspellings that were in a comment section a while ago, and she was joking. Well, this is not a... To be clear, we're not going to do something like this. If we ever shoot stuff, we won't be shooting this. But she joked if we ever played something like Pokemon, we'd have to name all of the Pokemon different misspellings of her name. That is not a confirmation of anything. That is a deconfirmation. We will not be playing Pokemon or anything like it anytime soon. More than likely. I don't know, guys. I could be running out of ideas for spaceships. This could be bad. Let's have a look at my chart of Final Fantasy ships. I could build something more like the Strawl, but that honestly kind of strays into Zazu territory anyway, the idea of a really flat, long ship. Ah, Bogley Woods. Headphones back on, baby. Ah. Oh, I love the Thousand Year Door so much. Let's see here. Ah, we could build a shoe puff. The shoe puff. Hey, we gotta hurry or we're gonna miss the shoe puff. The shoe puff. This is gonna be something really stupid, isn't it? This is a shoe puff. Oh, it's a giant elephant. Well, why didn't you say so before? There's an idea. Okay. I gotta start thinking with my brain here, though, to figure out how I'm gonna accomplish that. I saw a picture of I was looking at my chart of Final Fantasy vehicles, and the tiny Bronco was on there, and I was like, the tiny Bronco is a good idea for an inspiration for a single-man fighter, but how's that going to look, though, I wonder? Because the tiny Bronco has these downward folding wings, and Gummi ships can't handle that sort of thing. So what am I going to do? What am I going to do to accomplish that? Okay, now, let's see. Okay. Could have 2 rear wings here. Or 2 rear kind of flaps, I guess I should say. Bum bum bum, dum da 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 dum dum, bum ba-dum, bum ba-dum, dum, dum da dum. Atlas put out a poll earlier, I think today or yesterday, asking fans what of their previous projects they'd like to see ported to Nintendo Switch. And I tweeted about it. I don't know if I can even participate in the poll. I didn't even look into it, but like, Persona 4 and Persona 4 Golden were on the list. I kind of assumed that Sony was holding on to Persona with an iron fist, but like, boy, if they could get Golden onto the Switch, that'd be incredible. That would be a victory for all mankind right there. Think about how well that game sold on the freaking PlayStation Vita. If it got onto the Switch, ugh, it'd be open season. Okay. I'm not sure this is going to work, but I can give it a shot at least. This design that I'm conceiving here. All right, I forgot this track has got some dead air on the end of it. Ride the shoe path. Melissa Jackson, I remember being the only one excited for Scramble when it was revealed to be a Muso game. Everyone else I talked to was disappointed for some reason. I just don't like Musos particularly. I don't find them terribly interesting. But I'll give their objective with Musos appears to be to cover as many IPs as possible to force people to get into them, and they're gonna get me with 5, unfortunately. I'm probably gonna give it a shot. Okay. I don't know if this is gonna work within Gummi Shipbuilder's limitations, but I'm gonna give it a shot. Just give myself as much space as I need. I say that, and you can probably go back one space. I don't know, we'll see. Okay, let's see here. The thing about the tiny Bronco is that it has a central cockpit, and then the wings kind of fold down from the roof, and I can't make angled things in this game, so our options are somewhat limited here. However, our options are limited, but they are not non-existent. Let's see what we can do here. I guess that's not even really how it's designed. It's more that they do fold down, but they actually kind of start at the top, don't they? They start above the cockpit and then fold down. Okay, hold on. Right, it's because they're kind of, it's not quite a biplane, but there's like support struts underneath the wings. That's what kind of gives it the look of it being below. Okay. It's a bit bulkier than the... Yeah, I don't know. I don't like that. I wish there were half pieces that could go with this thing. I wish there was a half square. It's not. That pisses me off. Alright, let's just go back here. That's fine. It's still kind of a low profile enough. Low enough profile. Use sentences, Jacob. Don't be the current president of the United States. Use complete sentences. Okay, that's, yeah, I'll kind of, yeah. I can give that a dark gray and then the cockpit's red. We can even kind of give it a tiny Bronco color scheme almost. And P. Brustless, I'm trying to build a pod racer. Are you in the Gummi editor right now? Yeah. Also on the subject, I see a few more people talking about P5. It's like I became significant. I was disinterested in that Muso because I thought it would be the same as most other Musos, which is just kind of, it's like the spin-off Musos where it's just like kind of nonsense. And it's like, oh, this is a sequel with like Persona menus and the characters are here. Now, the main thing it has to do is overcome the Persona spin-off writing trouble, which is that in most of the Persona spin-offs, all of the main characters are reduced to cartoonish caricatures of themselves with only one or two maintaining distinct personalities. In the Arena games, the only characters who survived that transition were effectively new characters, because Yunaru Kami actually had a personality that felt fleshed out, but of course Yunaru Kami doesn't have a personality in the game. It was based on his anime personality. And then Labris was a real character. Everybody else was a cartoon caricature of themselves. Not as bad as they are in the Q games, but not great either. The main threshold that has to be overcome by Scramble for me is the party of P5 still has to feel like they do in P5 instead of feeling like reductions of themselves. They pull that off, and I'll probably be into it. Crossburn, technically speaking, you can get Persona 3 on PS4 right now because it's in the PlayStation 2 Classics collection. So, to answer your question about why did they really think they make more money off of P3 Dancing than P3 PS4? They're not going to put the money in to do a proper remaster of that game. I don't think anybody thought that Dancing would make more money. I think that they were doing Dancing, and they'll probably do a remaster of 3 when they feel the time is right, or when they feel that the cost benefit would outweigh whatever else. JG says, frustrated Jacob is a total loser. He doesn't even like BBS and DDD. Sad. Make KH great again. I didn't understand your acronym at the end there, and I was like, this just sounds like he's going like he's having a stroke. But then I was like, oh, I got it. It's like MAGA, but KH is in there. I figured it out. I figured out your code. All right, time for me to head home, says Dusky Dancing. Thanks to the music/discussion for me to listen to work, Jacob. Listen to during work, Jacob. Try to get back once I finish running errands. We might be gone by the time you get back, I don't know. But if you do come back, looking forward to seeing you again, and glad you had a good time. Be safe while you're running your errands. Razor, oh god, P4 Arena, Akihiko was ruined. Yeah. I hesitate to say any characters were ruined because they're fulfilling a different purpose. I don't want to say that any of the characters in those games are ruined. They're just not as interesting to me in those games for the most part. And the reason I'm into Persona is because the characters are really interesting. I will say I do like Arena and also this Muso for rendering what I imagine Persona combat to be like, because I hated that in Persona 4 the animation, they basically just fight with their personas like Pokemon. I really disliked that fighting style. And then when Arena came out, I was like, yes, this is exactly how I imagine these guys fighting with personas like in real time if it wasn't a turn-based setting. And then Scramble, in the traditional Muso way, I wish they weren't fighting so many people, but it's essentially the way that I imagine these characters fighting. So that's really cool. Acetone F at 15. I know nothing about what happens in Royal, but I kind of wonder if P5S is a canonical sequel. The implications of a $60 waifu being missing from the trailers has some implications. As someone who has, I'm not going to spoil anything, knows that, looked into some of the spoilers of Royal. I haven't seen enough in the trailers for Scramble to make me know. I don't know what's canon. It's entirely possible that Scramble is being treated as a sequel to Vanilla P5 as opposed to Royal P5, but I really don't know. And I'm saying that knowing spoilers for Royal, because I looked into it to see if it was actually worth the cost to see if I should get it or not. Knowing spoilers for Royal, I have no idea. I have no idea. That's all I'll say. That's all I will say for right now. Melissa Jackson says, wait, what's wrong with fighting that many people? I'm not gonna... You're misunderstanding me. I mean solely in terms of... I'm not gonna talk about Muso design or anything like that right now. I don't mind anybody who likes Musos or whatever. I'm just personally not into them. When I was talking about fighting that many people, I was talking about the way that I imagine Persona fights going down, and I'm saying that the way that the turn-based action of an RPG is presented, that, they're only fighting a couple of guys at a time, like, 6 tops, right? And so I'm saying that I like the way that Arena presents the fighting in that, oh, this is what I imagine these characters would be fighting like if they were fighting in real time. They're using their weapons, also using Persona moves and techniques to support that and whatever. And then in the same way, I'm looking at the gameplay footage of the Muso and going, I like the way that they're fighting and fighting in tandem with their personas, using physical attacks with their personas, magic attacks with their personas, etc. I'm saying that I aesthetically like the way that they are fighting. The only reason that I made any reference to the quantity of people that they are fighting is because I don't imagine characters in Persona games mowing through hundreds of guys. I imagine them fighting a couple of guys at a time. And within the context of a Muso, that's fine. I'm just saying, when I was talking about these games creating a visual pitch of exactly how I think of the Persona characters fighting, I was saying, minus the total quantity of people that they're fighting and how quickly they're going through them, the visualization of the combat system in P5 and how they're using the Personas is how I imagine it. Now, of course, you could also justify that in canon as saying these guys are now a post-Persona 5 adventure and they're fighting low-level crappy shadows, and then they can mow through as many of them as they want. I'm not concerned about it from like a lore standpoint or whatever. I was just talking about the way that I imagine Persona characters fighting is visualized very clearly in Arena and Scramble, minus the large quantity of people being fought in Scramble, because I imagine fights being smaller scale. I'm just talking about my own internal visualization of what the turn-based fights in Persona look like when played out in real time, because I disliked how they were portrayed in Persona 4 animation. That's all I'm saying. Kendall Hart, I don't think it's that Musos don't work with Persona. It can work with anything. I wouldn't say that it doesn't work with them. Because like I just said, they could be all lower level or whatever. And it's how those games work. It's not that big of a deal. You can change anything. Because people may think that I'm like really averse to changing characters. Because for example, I've ranted a lot about like how Kairi's characterization after Kingdom Hearts, like Kingdom Hearts 2, Kairi's characterization is ignored for no reason. I don't have a problem with things changing. I have a problem with things changing without purpose. So like for example, we don't need to get into a whole nobody start a conversation about Last Jedi. I'm making a very brief generalization here. I don't want any Last Jedi conversations in the chat, please. But even if I perceived Luke's character in Last Jedi, I don't consider to be a major change in characterization personally. I really like how he's portrayed. But even if I did perceive his characterization in The Last Jedi to be massively different from how Luke's previous portrayal in the original trilogy, I wouldn't necessarily mind because the change is altered to fulfill a very specific role within that story. The story of The Last Jedi wouldn't work if Luke wasn't characterized that way. His characterization is central to what's going on in that movie. So I use that comparison to talk about something like with Kairi. I'm upset that they changed her from the way that she was originally portrayed and then changed her to nothing. Of, see you later, Sora. Oh, here I am in the tower now to help. Oh, here I am with no screen time in Cage 3. If Sora was changed in one of these games into a bitter, cynical asshole who was just a real jerk to everybody, if it was done for a specific narrative intent, then I wouldn't care. If it had a very specific and clear-cut narrative intent, then I wouldn't necessarily mind the change. Maybe I'd dislike the actual content of the change, but I wouldn't be upset about a lack of continuity necessarily. And so in that same way, I don't mind that Joker and crew are fighting a ton of shadows. I almost said heartless, because that's what you do in a Muso, and that's fine. I think that's perfectly appropriate, personally. Melissa Jackson, there's absolutely nothing wrong with liking Musos. And if you need to hear somebody talk good about Musos, because I know people, they tend to get a bad rap, go and check out a fella named Jim Sterling of the Jimquisition. He's a big fan of Musos, and a pretty smart guy, generally speaking. So if you wanna hear somebody talk good about Musos, that's a place to go. Okay, how do I want to build this wing is the question. I guess this is actually kind of fine, but maybe I should go rounded. That might actually be a little bit better. Is there a little half round? Everything's pretty much full size. Darn. I have to go with this. I'd have to go with this. That's fine. Actually, it might look better if it was like this. Yeah. I guess I could do from both angles. That's the problem. You can't stack them very well. Okay, hold on a second. Maybe. Nah, that won't work. That won't work. Crap. I guess I could use Deco to overlap and accomplish kind of a cross sections that are seen in the original design. Or perhaps there must be a better way. Nope. Oh, that's bad. Yeah. Okay. This could work. This could work aesthetically. Alright. Yeah. Okay. It's not going to be perfect, but it's going to be... We can get kind of a tiny Bronco-ish look out of this. What if Dark Road ends up being a Muso, asks Victor. I don't know. I'm not gonna play it anyway, so it doesn't matter. A mobile Muso. Sure, why not, says Acetone. Picture the tiny Bronco again. Yeah, I need a bit more structure in the middle here. No, actually I do want that the way it was. Hold on. Just there, yeah. There, right there. It doesn't really need conventional landing gear the way that the Tiny Bronco does, but I do like kind of the rounded look underneath it, so perhaps we can emulate that a little bit. Picture of the Tiny Bronco. I need to see the Tiny Bronco. So we're not really going to be able to put landing gear on this thing, because unfortunately we can't overlap with the... Flip over my decos. Hold on. Because could I use one of these potentially to create kind of the cross look that I need? Or want. Don't need anything really. It's kind of too big. Any of these work? They're all too big, aren't they? This is the closest. Give this a shot at least. Kind of build from around that a little bit. Okay. Alright. Not terrible. But not impressive. It's kind of getting there. I really wish there were kind of straight and narrow wing pieces that I could be using on this. Okay, now I'm just gonna need to build back out from this. And in fact, these don't need these. Yeah, that's gonna make it nearly impossible for me to build outward from here. So, okay, now the back kind of section comes out from midway through the wings. It comes out kind of from the top, but we can ignore that if we want to. Plus, we don't have to emulate exactly the design of the Tiny Bronco, obviously. We're just kind of going for something similar to it. Oops, hold on. Okay. I'm not even gonna be able to get that far. Okay. I have to go narrower than this, I guess. And I don't think I want to go round. I want it to be more angular after all. Yeah. Yeah, that gets us all the way to the back. That's the way we want it. Okay. That's a start. We're kind of getting there. Now, maybe if I just bring up... I just kind of need to build outward from that is the problem. And I can't... I wish you could overlap stuff, darn it. It just makes it so much more difficult than it has to be. Okay. Kind of a cross-section here. Now, let's see if we can... No, that's not going to work, crap, because you can't... No, you can kind of align the, these to a specific position, so maybe we can get this looking right. That's too much. It needs to be shorter than that. Now I just need something to go up. I can't I'm out of things I can overlap here. I guess... Yeah, okay, I know what I need to do. I know it needs to be done here. Okay. I'm gonna have to use these types of wings for the horizontal ones, and then the more traditional Kingdom Hearts wings for the vertical ones. No, hold on. Oh, hold on, they're not aligned properly, but I can fix that too. Crap. Why am I stupid? Oh, why don't I know how to do... Why can't I do this? Oh, hold on. There's a button. L3. Flip horizontally. Does that do it? Aha. Okay. I did it there. Awesome. Okay. Now I just need to go back over here to these. Yeah, that's how this is gonna work. Okay. Oh, boy, that's ugly. But that's about all we can do with this freaking system. So we can't overlap pieces and have things kind of conjoin the way you'd want them to. Maybe after a paint job, it'll look a little bit better, right? Lego Luigi 56 looks kind of like a hydroplane. That's essentially what we're basing it on. We're basing it on the tiny Bronco, which is, well, it wasn't meant to be a hydroplane, but it winds up that way in Final Fantasy VII. It's a small aircraft that winds up crashing into the ocean, and it can't take off again, but they kind of use it to putt around in the ocean as a little boat. That's more or less what we are basing the design on here. Reference photo again here. I wish there was a way to kind of smooth this out a little bit more. It's good enough. That's as good as we're gonna get. Now I just gotta figure out where to put guns on it. Again, I don't know, again, we can use our imaginations for a lot of the guns, but we can strap a few on here, just for visual panache. Fortunately, now that I've decided to compete with these deco gummies, I can't overlap with them, but that's okay, I can still figure out something to do here. Nah, that looks terrible. Are you gonna overlap? You are. I was afraid of that. I guess I could always put one on top of the wings. It's kind of where they are on the original design anyway. On the tiny Bronco itself, that is. Here, I'll put them on the... That's not gonna work. Unfortunately, it's so small that it is dwarfed by the wings themselves with the way that I've overlapped them. I guess I could un-overlap them, and maybe they'd look better, but... Nah. Let's just slap some engines on this thing and call it a day. Doesn't look that great. Unfortunately, the way this is designed, anywhere we put stuff, it's going to wind up clipping into something else. It's just kind of the nature of this beast we've created here. Now, this isn't our best creation, but it's something. Now for the paint job. Luckily, I have a direct point of reference on this one, so it won't take too long. We can probably do we can do a couple of things with this one to make it a little bit more interesting than normal, though. First of all, I probably want to make as much of this as I can into that kind of glossy plastic. Actually, that's not true, because some parts of it are different materials entirely. We want... Yeah, we do actually want some differences here. We want kind of the underside stuff here to be the duller plastic. It's going to be a duller color, and it's made out of completely different material from the rest of the whole thing. Same goes for you. And for you and you. Oops, hold on. You and you. You. Oops, hold on. No. Undo. Okay. Then kind of building up to the main structure back here, but then it's going to transition to the shinier stuff. And it's going to transition to a different color palette, too. And I guess these... Yeah. These stay. Now, everything else I want to be this shinier material. And, okay. This will be kind of the duller shade. The duller material, I mean. As will this. And then just for minor mix-ups, we don't have landing gear, but I do kind of want the roughness of the original design a little bit. We'll kind of slap that on there. And these are interiors, so it really doesn't matter, but I guess we'll make them the dull ones. Okay, now for the color itself. Nope, too light. That'll do. Okay, most of this is still, a lot of this stuff, even the stuff that's the lighter material, is still going to be red, but now, yeah, so a lot of this is kind of gunmetal gray, but it's honestly kind of really close to a light blue. Maybe I could try for a light blue and see what comes of it. We'll just see what happens. See if it looks good or not. We'll just give it a shot, see if it looks good or not. Probably needs to be light gray. Yeah, I think that's gonna be better. Oh, hold on. Though we could actually, hold on. Because I do want some of the, I do like the kind of mistakes and stuff here and there, and I kind of the things not being quite completely together. But that's not going to work unless it's fake. I'm going to put a lot of effort into making that kind of, what I did with the Viper Halberd, where there are things that are just kind of off. I have to put a lot more effort in than what I am right now, so I'm not going to mess with that at the moment. Oh, this needs to be the lighter gray. Actually, that probably should stay red. All right, it's not our best, but that's not bad either. It's not terrible. Yeah, I'll accept that. It doesn't really fit within the aesthetic of the other, because this feels more like a Disney ship than a Final Fantasy ship. If we're trying to design a spaceship or whatever, this feels more like something Launchpad McQuack would be flying. But we built it, and we can just do like a slight variation on Tiny Bronco, and we have a name. How? Bam. Did I spell that right? I always second guess myself on spelling. I spelled it right. I don't think we're not actually going to call it that, but I do need to save it before I lose power and lose the ship. All right, Joe, after this one's done, can we see them all so far? Yeah, sure, just a second. And then I'm going to try and at least get to 3 tonight, but I don't want to quit soon, because I'm going to have to eat dinner at some point, and I'm sure you guys have other things to do, too. Puddle Jumper, is this Jacob's favorite part of Kingdom Hearts 3? Probably not. It's just funny. This was something that I actually legitimately wanted to do for fun anyway, because I like designing creative stuff, but I'm not that great of an artist. I'm really not very good at drawing. And I thought it'd also be a funny idea for a stream. So we did it once, and then people liked it enough, so we're doing it again. So I doubt we'll be getting many more of these. I'm running out of steam on ideas. Looking for answers and looking for a clue. Flying the freedom. I didn't commit to that note, and it didn't come out well at all. Ch-ch-cha-chaya. Ch-ch-cha-chaya. Happy life of a dream. You should have made Tails' tornado from Sonic, but which one? There's multiple versions of the tornado. No. We already saved it. We're good. Yeah, this is despite its similarity to Tiny Bronco in terms of being as a spaceship. I think I aired it too close to the original design, and this feels more like again, like I said, something that Launchpad McQuack would be designing or flying. But that's not bad either. I'm happy with that too, honestly, if we're being real here. We could say that maybe this is employed in the Disney fleet and it was inspired by something that Sid designed, or maybe we, knowing that Kingdom Hearts is a Final Fantasy crossover series with Kingdom Hearts, accept that this is a Disney design that happens to have inspiration, not necessarily in universe, but from a design standpoint from Final Fantasy. All right, yeah, all right, cool. So to review what we have so far, start down here. We got the cease and desist, which is a joke, obviously. It's not part of the fleet proper. Whatever was built during the playthrough and is bad. You guys watched me build it during the playthrough and knew that it was bad when I built it. And then the YT type RR was built during the playthrough, which I think, yeah, you guys have already seen with the episodes that are out now. And this was what we used during the entire playthrough basically. And then I made a minor modification to it, took off some things to get cost back, and made some changes to it to improve it overall. I needed to put energy in it, because the power, that is, because this one was in negative power, because I didn't understand how power worked during the playthrough. This I then designed. So these aren't necessarily part of this isn't necessarily part of this project, but we can count it as existing if we want to. This was designed kind of as, at least hypothetically, as part of this project, though it wasn't done on stream. This is primarily designed to be an actual breadwinner in the game. I use this to beat the actual, like, endgame Gummi ship bosses. But this is designed... The Dragonfly is supposed to be a single-man fighter for the Radiant Garden Fleet. Lingering Willy is the capital ship for the Disney Castle Fleet. These things are not to scale. This is very large. Many dragonflies could be contained within this thing. Well, not many. I don't know how big they are exactly, but it's large. L2 True Blue, high-speed, lightly armed reconnaissance ship for the Radiant Garden Fleet. Can be deployed in regular combat for hit-and-run attacks, but it's lightly armed and lightly armored. Primarily designed for speed, with probably I'm imagining it's maybe it seats 2 people, and one of them is a reconnaissance engineer of some kind, taking photographs, gathering data. Thumper 1928, possibly to be renamed to the 42. Jury's still out on that one. Is a bomber for the Disney Castle Fleet. Viper Halberd is the capital ship for the Radiant Garden Fleet, based on the designs of the Shera and the High Wind from Final Fantasy VII and Final Fantasy VII Advent Children. I said them out of order. The Shera is from Advent Children, and the High Wind is from Final Fantasy VII. It's kind of a combination of the 2 designs. This is not nearly as large as the Lingering Willy. It doesn't contain other ships within it, probably. The Zazu CF-94, which is a lightweight single-man fighter craft for the Disney Castle Fleet, and the how do we say this is pronounced? Wyvern?
Wyvern.
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 Wyvern. Wyvern 02. This is a air-to-ground assault vehicle for the Radiant Garden Fleet. It's for sub-atmospheric assaults on ground targets, unlike the Disney Castle folks who have their, their royal knights that Goofy's the head of, supposedly. The Radiant Garden folks probably don't have a ton of... They don't really have a ton of soldiers, so they would need to if they were gonna do assaults on ground targets, they would need to supplement it with heavy-duty vehicles. So the idea of this one is this is deployed sub-atmospheric, not really in space so much. Though I'm sure it could probably be in outer space. Maybe it's probably airtight, similar to we're sticking with the LAT comparisons from the Star Wars prequels. This is for air-to-ground assaults on sub-atmospheric targets primarily. And now we have the diminutive horse to be renamed, which I suppose is now a single-man fighter for the Disney Castle Fleet. Complete Mystery says, mini ships, please? Probably not. The problem with... So here's the thing, right? Because I've thought about doing, for things like the Lingering Willy, I guess, since Viper Halberd isn't really that big, I was thinking about, for the Lingering Willy, designing little ships that that looked like... Can you... Where do you even design the... Hold on. Where do you go to design the mini ships? Right, you over here. Right, okay. I was thinking about designing a couple of mini ships that looked like, say, these at a smaller, like it looked like the Dragonfly or the L2 or the Zazu or whatever. Designing them at a small scale and then having them around the Lingering Willy. But the problem is that it's really hard to build something with this scale. You can only go 4 across and 4 up. Accurate, even getting a vague representation of one of those things is really difficult within this framework. That being said, folks, I'm gonna run to the restroom real fast, and then we will try and build at least one more of these. We're gonna try and build at least one more of these bad boys before we quit for the night. We'll have to do it fast though, because I have other things I want to do with my evening, other than just to be clear, not that I'm not enjoying doing this and talking with all of you fine folks, but I do have other things that I need to do as well. So I am going to excuse myself for a moment. Hopefully while I'm in the bathroom, I'll figure out an idea for our next ship, and we'll return momentarily. Okay, I think I have an idea. Looking over my chart of Final Fantasy vehicles. I've decided, I was like, what else can we do? What else can we do? What else here has a design that I think, number one, I might be able to replicate within a Gummi editor, because a lot of them are, like, too long. Like, for example, Ragnarok from Final Fantasy VIII is, like, this really long thing that fans out in the back. There's no way to make that in the Gummi ship editor, I don't think. Other things just don't have quite the right profile for it. I thought about doing the Strahl, but it's another just, like, thin, wide ship, and we couldn't get it nearly wide enough for it to look good, and we already kind of did that with the Zazu. I'm looking around, what can I do? And I see the Seed amphibious assault boats from Final Fantasy VIII, and I'm like, you know what, since Ragnarok doesn't really work, let's do Squall's in this whole thing somewhere, right? Squall's probably one of the important leaders of their military. Let's do something that looks like Squall's military days. So we're gonna do a single man, since the Seed assault boats actually seat a lot of people. We could possibly do multiple variations. Maybe this isn't a single man assault vehicle. Maybe this is a troop transport. We'll figure this out as we go along. But we're gonna base something on the Seed assault boat from FF8, and I'm also gonna eat some pretzels filled with peanut butter. What are you guys eating? If anybody out there is snacking, sound off in the chat about what you're eating. Check it out. It's a little pretzel, but it has peanut butter inside of it. What will they think of next? It's getting it chilly in here, so I turned up the heat a little bit, but I don't need to have the air conditioning and a heater running when the actual, when the mic is on. Air conditioning is still on, the general heat's still on, but my little personal heater does not need to be on when I'm on mic. God, you guys are painting some kind of grimdark thing based on the war crimes these characters have done. Sora worked through the trauma he faced. Riku paying off his apartment rent as a kid and doesn't pay alimony. Complete mystery. We can still try to make those some teeny ships research runs. Oh, to be clear, I'm not ruling it out. We can still get that a shot at some point, just not at this exact point. Make a raft for Titus walk-in selfie. No, not right now. I just ate Pizza Hut, says Victor. Wobonin, sea salt and vinegar chips. Oh, dude. Oh, that's good. I'm gonna have some. You know what? I don't know what I'm having for dinner, but I'm gonna have some salt and vinegar chips on this side, man. Oh, you've awakened my taste buds. My mouth is watering. Just got back into your house after getting locked out. Time for food, says Rainy Heart. I need a snack, yeah. Kendall Hart, I just ate some gas station pizza. It was actually pretty good. Okay. Alright. Seed amphibious assault vehicle. Here we go. No, wrong button. Of course, it's not actually amphibious. We want it to be kind of. We're not emulating the exact design. We're still making a spaceship here. We're taking inspiration from the vehicle. And I don't know if this is a troop transport or a single-man fighter yet. We're gonna figure that out as we go along, my guys. And gals, I suppose. There are gals in here, too. I hope you all understand when I say things like that. I'm intending it as gender neutral. I use this cockpit a lot. Let's use this one again. And indeed, since we can overlap them, is that even gonna do anything? No, it's not. It's not gonna be visible. I bet if I use the other one, it would work, but for that, it's not. That's okay though. One sec, I need to move these forward a little bit. Yeah, further. Further. Oops, that was bad. Undo. Okay, where's the copy button? Okay. The main feature to get right here, obviously, is forward-mounted gun. And it's the girth of this thing that takes it out of the realm of single man and into more the realm of a troop transport, but that's okay. I don't mind. I need another angle. I need another picture. Again, we're not directly emulating this. We're, making changes. We're obviously not directly recreating these designs. I'm just looking at pictures to get more creative inspiration. That's all. Yeah, the cockpit is higher than the gun, and I was thinking that it's like this doesn't look quite right, and I think we will take this a bit higher. Take this back one and put it like so, but now we're just gonna have to kind of justify its placement there. What we have to do here is we're going to have to delete everything basically up to the gun here. And kind of... It's going to be difficult to do... Because since we can't... The original thing is very curvy, because all the designs in 8 are very curvy. That was a joke about Quistis. Oh! High five! Boom! But we're not going to be able to do exactly that, so we'll just have to build our way back up here. Yeah, this kind of works. Yeah, this will essentially do what I want it to do. Hold on a second. Okay. I don't know what to do back here, though, is the question. Well, yeah, we don't need to fill in the space underneath that necessarily, since our budget isn't infinite. We don't need to be able to. It doesn't matter. We can't see this underside here, so we don't need to fill that in just yet. Though we do. I guess we got more of these squares, so we hopefully shouldn't be running out of them anytime soon. No, go away, go away. Shoot. Okay, let's see. Honestly, that silhouette is really close. Okay. All right. No, it's not gonna work. There's no way to make that a smooth transition, is there? How do all these pieces work? There's no real corner piece. I guess, well, this will work, won't it? Yeah. That does the job. Sorry. I was being dumb again. That does it. That does the job well enough. That accomplishes what we want it to do. That's good. Chat. Woboniton, so is the new lighting thing I heard about DLC exclusive, or is that an update I got? I'm not exactly sure. I don't know if the lighting is free or if that's part of the DLC. I think it's part of the free update. I could be wrong though. Don't quote me on that. I could be mistaken. The lighting update on Keyboard Graveyard might be part of the free update, but I'm not 100% sure. Illumination worlds in KH4, minions, yeah. That'd be great. We could build a minion gummy ship if you guys want. Wabonion says, I remember one time I had slightly longer hair. I woke up and my hair was spiked in one direction. It looked like Roxas's hair. I ran it to my mom and convinced her to dye my hair blonde. I get anime hair a lot mostly after showers and stuff. If my hair is the right length and I go swimming or I get out of the shower and I just shake my head and I don't really do anything with it, I just shake it out, I look like Sora. KH1 Sora, to be clear. No. KH1. Just not KH3 Sora. Any of the Soras that are in KH3. Alright. I love Besaid Island as much as the next guy, but that's 13 minutes of Besaid Island. That track is the extended version. We don't need to listen to that much Besaid Island. We'll move on to something else now. What am I going to do with the rest of this? Darn it. I got the top half. What am I going to do about the bottom? Because the bottom is what kind of has to change to make it spaceshipy. So what are we going to do with this? guess the main question is, where did the troops come out of? Because that never made sense to me in 8 either. Some weird front belly doors, I guess. They open up odd. Yeah. Strange. Not very waterproof. These are amphibious assault vehicles. Should probably start deviating from this to make it more spaceshipy soon anyway. Because it needs an engine somewhere. I don't know where that's going to go yet. I guess it's going to go here. It can't even stick out. It's too big. Perhaps if we put them on the side, that could work. Yeah, okay. All right, this is where we're now getting into making this our own a little bit more. We're not doing a direct copy. We're inspired by. This isn't based on a true story. It's inspired by a true story, and there is a big difference. Believe you me, there's a big difference in Hollywood. This ain't gonna be pretty, but we can maybe not tonight, because again we gotta wrap up the stream soon. But we can maybe we'll get like halfway through this and we can worry about beautification next time, right? Sorry I'm not really reading chat right now, folks, but I gotta kind of figuring this one out as I go, so I gotta think. Seems like you guys are still arguing about Ice Age World anyway, so. Lucky Tito, I can't wait for the whole playthrough of Kingdom Hearts 3 to come out. Well, you won't have to wait that much longer. It's not a ton more left after Pirates. There's Big Hero 6, and then it's just go. And I think there's only 2 more episodes of Pirates. Yeah, the last episode of Pirates is next Wednesday. And I think there's only 3 episodes of Big Hero 6, so you guys will be seeing plot in 2 weeks. Like today. 2 weeks from today, we'll be getting into, you know, the ending of the game, so. Hopefully that's not an unbearably long wait for most of you. Sometimes the mic stand gets in the way of me being able to see what blocks I'm clicking on. Where's the half one? There it is. Can't see what I'm doing, darn it. Is there anything in that space that I'm going into? No, that is open. Okay. Alright, cool. Now it's kind of closed off properly. Folks, I think I probably need to quit for the night, honestly. It's getting a little bit later. I got other things I need to be doing. I think we need to polish this one up next time. Slightly shorter stream than we've done in the past, but I said we'd try and get 3 ships done, but we didn't go 4 hours. So we got 2.5 ships done. That's acceptable to me. But yeah, I think I probably need to wrap up in just a few seconds here. I'll place a few more pieces, but probably gonna have to stop soon, folks. It's getting later in the evening, and I have other things I need to be doing. Sorry, everybody. Make it early again, says Piprod. Maybe. Depends on when I have time to stream. Depends on when I can do it. Also, when you guys can do it, obviously, you know. I don't know when people show up for these types of things or not. I have to do more experiments and figure out when people do and don't show up. But then it's also the content, not just the time, so it's hard to say what the best times actually are for you guys. Generally speaking, I'm sure individuals of you know, could say easily when the best time is for you on any given day, but hard to figure out a generalized time that's best for everybody. Yeah. This is gonna need some real beautification. And I'm really not sure what I'm gonna do about the hull, because I can't really rip off the original design or it's not gonna look right. It needs some kind of wings on it. Well, yeah, I think we're just gonna have to stop there. I can't do much more right now, folks. I gotta quit. And as per usual, we'll give it a proper name later. But since it's based on the Seed Landing Craft, we'll call it that for now. Wobonion. Sorry, I know I'm probably horribly messing that username up. Good night, Jacob. Also, I found you on like episode 3 of the DDD playthrough, so I think I'm fairly new. That's pretty new. That's only like what, two months ago at this point, pretty much. It was in December, right? Welcome. Hope you're enjoying the stuff. if you don't know, you probably do by this point, but if you don't know, this is our secondary channel. We have a main channel called Frustrated Jacob, where I used to do other things. Hopefully we'll be doing more things in the near future, where I do other types of videos, and on that channel, Joey and I did playthroughs of Kingdom Hearts 1, Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories, and Final Fantasy VII, the original. So, if you're new, there's even more stuff over there to check out in addition to the stuff on this channel. Or maybe you already know. It's in the description. Now it's in the description of every video. So, well, not literally. I think it's been in since like the beginning of the KH3 playthrough, so most people probably know. And I'm sure we've said main channel multiple times in the videos that you've seen since you came along, so. But I don't consider that a shameless plug, since both channels are kind of required for full continuity. But I hope you're enjoying the stuff. Thanks for coming out to the stream today. Username that I will again butcher, Wobo Neon. Kendall Hart used to. Yeah, well, don't worry. There'll be more stuff on the main channel soon. I only did like 5 videos last year. 6 real videos. There will be more soon. I promise. I'm working on it. I got ahead on playthrough stuff specifically so that I could work on stuff for the main channel. There's stuff coming. Excuse me. Sorry. I keep burping. I apologize. Try to move away from the mic when I feel it coming, but sometimes I don't. Oh well. Yeah, that's the end of that, folks. Well, the diminutive horse wound up being a little bit more complicated than it probably needed to be. I mean, this is not as impressive as the work we did last time with the Zazu was exceptionally simple, but this took us a while. Mostly because I was talking. I mean, I feel like we did at least a decent amount of building today. Or me sketching stuff as well. Though, I'm sure you guys are mostly here to talk anyway, as opposed to watching me build ships in Kingdom Hearts 3. Whatever, we got 3.5 done today. That's something. We got 3.5 done today in an hour less than I typically spend on these streams, so that's something. I don't know how many more of these types of streams I have in me, because eventually we're going to start running out of ideas. Maybe we'll do one more soon and wrap this ship up and build a couple. How about this? If I come up with a couple more ideas that I really like, then we'll do another stream where I'll wrap this one up and build 1 or 2 more. Well, no, I should be clear. We'll definitely do this again, but I'm trying to stream at least once a week now if I can. And if I don't have a clear idea for more ships by the time it comes for me to be streaming again, maybe we'll push off the Gummi stream and we'll do something else. We'll see how it goes. We'll definitely do more of this, I promise. I don't know how many more. We'll definitely do it. We'll definitely at least finish this and build a couple more. There's maybe, but unless I get a ton more good ideas, I probably only got 1 or 2 more of these left in me before I need a break to let the come up with some new ideas. Alrighty. Adios, folks. Thanks for coming out, everybody. Thanks to Billy the Kid Lawrence, Drew Tamazik, and Jack Doubt for the Super Chat donations today. I appreciate it. I don't know if any of you are still in here. This is what streamers do, right? They thank people again who gave them money at the ending of streams. That's what people do, right? I watch streams occasionally. I see people do this sometimes. But thanks also to the rest of you who came out today. Thanks to everybody who came out to watch this, and thanks to people who aren't watching it live. Thanks to people who are watching the archive, who are just hanging out, just chilling, watching the archive later. I hope you're enjoying it, considering how much dead air there is of me not even talking, and you can't participate in the chat. If you did watch the archive of this to the end, I hope you had a good time. No Sonic choose ships. Good night, everybody.